everybody, and welcome back to a single-serving tabletop adventure from Queen's Court Games. Today we are playing, for the last time, breaking my heart unfortunately, the last episode of Lord Blackbird, A Tale of Skyfaring Mischief and Daring Do by John Harper. I am Aaron. As always, I am your storyteller. I am joined today in the role of Naomi by Avi.
Hi.
I did not point because it's all going to move around.
It's going to move around, yeah.
So I'm just going to... And then gesturing generally to any direction as Captain Cyrus Vance, Syriinx.
What's up?
Still not pointing as pilot of the owl, Snargle, Zoe.
Hello, everyone.
Our very fun mechanic friend in the role of Kale, Arkham, it is Rowan.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening.
And lastly, but not leastly, the Lord whose disappearance sparked this entire adventure as Nathaniel Blackbird. It is Gabe.
Greetings. I'll be bringing the drama.
Gabe. I'm going to hang on to that in case I need it later. You know how this goes. I introduced the story the very first time we talked about it to get the mood set, but then I foist that responsibility onto one of you. And if you are not willing to volunteer, I will get the dice out and we'll see how it goes. So I'm reaching for the thing now, unless someone has any ideas.
There's only 3 remaining.
That's true. Who's done it before? I know Gabe did it once. And okay, so I will roll 1d6, and then 1 and 2, it's V. 3 and 4 will say Zoe, and then 5 and 6 will say Rowan. Yeah.
I live for the random dice chaos, so please roll away.
That falls to Zoe. Zoe,
yay!
Tell us what happened. You put that energy into the world and it came right back out.
I did. It was good. Last time on Lord Blackbird, we went to the Hard Goodbye as a place to refuel and kind of pick our spirits back up from the squid fight. Not that they were dampened, but we were definitely in a need for repairs, a need for some non-squid type interactions. And did we ever get non-squid type interactions as we went to the criminal underbelly of the Hard Goodbye to seek out a contact of Kale's? We then went to see the Oil Pope, Baron, Goblin King, who was a majestic creature with so many squid tentacles grafted onto his body. Never seen anything like it before, but was so darn impressed. We bartered with him, and less bartered, more like made him feel very special, and he gave us fuel for the rest of our journey to the Remnants. And as we are about to go meet Kale's contact, we find that the Imperials are there waiting for us. And that's where we ended it.
My ascension is now complete!
So glorious.
I've not been doing this on Twitch for very long, but that is one of my favorite NPCs, and I've married that voice to them now. Henceforth, when people comes around, they'll be like, oh, that's the Oil Pope voice, and that's how it's going to work. Because I've only got 3 or 4 voices, and I'm burning a lot of them on this game for you all.
We appreciate the gesture. It's true.
Thank you. It's good to be seen. Kale, friend, buddy, pal, what went wrong?
Yeah, I'm looking over at the buddy, my guy Ambrose, as I know him, who thought was my friend. How's he? What's his reaction to all of this? As like these Imperials are busting out and doing all that shouty Imperial shit. What's his face doing right now?
He doesn't look happy.
Does he look surprised?
No.
Fuck!
You definitely get the sense of... I haven't seen enough media recently that might capture this mood, but it's that, like... And, you know, something has forced his hand in a certain way, or maybe they made an offer that was too good to refuse. It wasn't a betrayal out of spite or anything like that, but it nevertheless was a betrayal.
I look at him. There's not time to get words out. I look at him, and I want him in my face. That's just a kind of... I just nod at him. I get it. Sometimes this is the way it has to be.
I mean, pirate life, right?
Pirate life.
And I don't think you'll get much more looks to exchange between you and your not buddy, mate. Before I think the captain will look at the others left and right, because we were walking in one line as we established, and say, "Shit, everyone, run!" And then like
Scatter.
It's very calm. Just shit. Disperse.
On it, Captain.
I mean, the context is back to the ship, if everyone is intelligent enough to get that.
I'm all about this. You obviously don't want to get into a firefight here. You are around the statue, which I think we said had like candy stuck to it, so that
It's a big whale with a crown on its head.
Mm-hmm. There's no cover there, and the Imperials are all around you, so everybody's gonna. If you scatter, that's fine. That's good tactical thinking. My question is, are you even attempting to stay in a group, or at this point is panic setting in and it's just like whatever direction seems?
My only goal is to stay close to Nathaniel. That's literally my job. So I don't care what, like, if he bolts opposite from Cyrus, I'm right on his tail.
I will have to disappoint you there. Since I think the ship, like the crew of the ship, would know that if we run or anything, we reconvene at the ship. Like, it would be known to Kale and Snargle. However, it wouldn't be known to Nathaniel and Naomi yet. So I think I would like take them with me and try to scatter that way. And if the others want to like also all scatter in group, then that's fine. But we could also split up, and then we know we can reconvene.
This is fun for me either way. So Kale and Snargle, it is up to you.
Kale, or not Kale, Snargle doesn't exactly act well under pressure unless flying, so I imagine when the order is given to scatter, scatter I do. I am shrinking and squeezing through alleyways that the Imperials can't possibly squeeze through.
That is an excellent point. Of all the people who can escape, Snargle, A, like, she knows this turf, and B, has a science change advantage that the rest of you don't. Alrighty.
I'm cheating.
So what? Oh, there's no real way to do this inside of Lord Blackbird, because I want to see if scattering does happen. Because here's the scene: like, you all start to run, and you're doing your best, minus one person / goblin, to stick together, right? But Lord Blackbird, I feel like it's safe to say you've not like ever had to escape a bunch of people trying to gun you down before, right?
It's been rare, yeah. So I think at this point I'm resisting the urge to grab onto Cyrus's arm, because these are Imperials, and what if one of them knows me from the academy? That's so embarrassing. So I'm just trying to stay as close as possible without clinging.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, let us begin then with the chase. So Snargle, I guess a side question. You're making your way back. Is it anywhere in your mind to stay, like, are you running parallel to the road that the rest of the crew would take? Are you making any effort at all to stay like in sight line, or are you just saying like, I'm here, ship's there?
It's in this situation that I'd appreciate a keep it together role, but I think I am vaguely aware of where the rest of the group is. I'm obviously not in the same kind of area as them, but I can hear the Imperials chasing them, I'm sure, as I'm slipping through the side streets.
Well, in lieu of a keep it together roll, let's try this. Captain Vance, emphasis on captain, you've given the order to scramble, and I would guess there's also some kind of hidden piratey lingo to it, right? When like you see football and they're like, Omaha, 7 left backflip or whatever, you'd have some kind of thing that lays out a general plan. What, you're making that face like I don't know what sports are?
Yeah, no. I have
Definitely
an idea.
don't.
Definitely don't. Yeah, no.
Okay, well,
Cyrus isn't the sports type. Yeah, sure.
Let us find some kind of leadership role for you to make to see how you communicate the plan in this moment.
Yeah, sounds good. However the role goes, I was thinking of like, you say that and then with the foot you're like tapping in Morse code. But we'll see. I guess we'll first roll.
Because there's that little moment of panic at the end of the last episode when they were making their orders, and you have an opportunity to freeze, and you're reacting and saying, okay, well, I know this is gonna go bad, so I'm gonna start tapping now to let like the secret code out, and then scramble is the order to execute the instructions I have just given. As that is happening, we can say like simultaneously, there's going to be that moment before you break, and Nathaniel, Naomi, you're standing next to one another. Naomi, you're I was gonna say like your child, but I don't mean it in like he came out of you. I mean like you're babysitting, right? So what's the word for your charge? That's not what they call babies for babysitting. Ward, yes. Your ward is about to be in the middle of a shitstorm. So you can see this coming from a mile away. You've been a pit fighter forever. You know what imminent danger looks like. What advice do you give? And you've got like 2 sentences to summarize everything you know about this, about what's to happen. You have like 10 or 15 words tops to get Nathaniel on the page.
Stay close to me. Don't look back.
Gotcha.
If nothing else, my size alone will protect him. And worst case, I can take care of whatever's behind us. But if he's in front of me, great. Worst case, I'll scoop him up. But I assume he can run, so.
Kale has a question?
I don't have a question. I have a thing that I would like to do, but I will let everyone else do a thing first.
Well, we're waiting on one thing from Cyrus. How'd that roll go?
Yeah, not that good. I even added 2 of my pool, but I only got 1 success.
Okay, so that order did not get communicated clearly. It would make sense that for Naomi and Nathaniel, they have no idea what the pirate code is. Kale is a little distraught on account of being betrayed by their friend, and Snargle, I don't know, like something shiny or whatever,
Okay.
He knows.
I think seeing all of this happen, Kale will kind of drag his eyes away from Ambrose and is going to give Cyrus a look that Cyrus has seen before. And it is a look that is very clearly, you guys go. I'm about to do something very stupid. And Kale is going to move away from the group of where like Naomi and Nathaniel and Cyrus are, because Snuggles already kind of shrunk away and started moving. And is going to yell out at the top of his lungs in the most kind of gutter street rat thief voice that he can to all of the Imperial soldiers. Just go like, oi, stupid hats! Because we all know that Imperial soldiers have stupid hats.
It's the law.
It is.
Yeah, they all wear really stupid hats.
Sorry, Nathaniel.
Yeah, sorry. You all have really dumb hats.
No, it's fair. It is.
Yeah. I'm going to kind of move away from the group and just get as much of their attention on me as I can. And I'm going to say, it's me, Kale Arkham, and I'm going to pull out the squid knife that I took from the oil pope and like flip it around in my hands and go, look what I have. And I want to try and distract them and get all of the attention on me, the infamous burglar, and the thing that I have stolen.
I will say 2 things. 1, excellent idea. I mean, in a way, it could end very, very badly for you, but that remains to be seen. So do start putting a pool together. I will say that even if you get an incredible amount of success, the Imperials are here for Lord Blackbird.
Yeah,
so
I know.
you might attract a number of them, but you're not going to be able to completely get that all the attention to yourself.
Oh, you're telling me the Imperials are here for Lord Blackbird? Whew, thank God.
Really?
Cyrus is like, oh, you're only here for him? There you go.
Yeah, take him.
He's right there. He's right there.
I think that might cause some problems with your potential relationship if you do that. Just
Yeah, true.
not that I'm complaining.
Hey,
I just,
look, another bonding moment. We both need to run from the Imperials.
And hey, what's that? Cyrus is a red flag? Well, my favorite color's red,
It's red.
so great news.
That would be 6 successes.
That's the best you can do under these circumstances. It's a little bit of the flauntingness because what are the rules? If you're an empire, right? Like in any kind of fantasy universe, 1, stupid hats, 2, stealing artifacts that don't belong to you and putting them in museums, and then 3, you just cannot stand a scamp.
Yeah,
like a poor scamp.
I'm playing it up. If one of them has a mustache, I'm telling them how stupid it is. I'm gonna kick rocks at them. I'm gonna do every fucking thing in my shitty little street rat burglar book that I can to get them riled up and angry and attention on me. And all while I'm doing that, I've got like the eye flicking back to Cyrus that's just like, fucking run, leave me, go.
So then, kaboom! Crew and passengers scatter in a dozen different directions. The second you make that order, there is gunfire going every which way. It's coming down from second floor balconies, and then there's that little you came down like a ramp in the road. They're up there. Every direction that is not one, like the 2 or 3 you can find a way out of here. There are soldiers who are laying down fire. I mean, ostensibly they shouldn't shoot Lord Blackbird, but I mean, like, you've all gone in a bunch of different directions. Who knows? So let us begin our adventure. Kale, you've started it off. What is your plan here?
As I'm keeping up that vibe of like, come and get me, I'm like, and just everything I can to keep attention on me, and when they're heading back to the ship, I'm going in the opposite direction.
Are you telling me that you don't plan on going back to the ship at all?
No. Well, not for now.
All right. I was not prepared for that eventuality. Pardon me while I pretend that I can improvise.
Don't worry about it, because I'm not gonna let them just run off. I think they've done this one too many times.
Yeah. To give you a forewarning, Kale can cast spells and has an ability called a jump spell, and is effectively going to get as far away from the ship as he can, draw the Imperials out, and then teleport back.
Oh, yeah. That's what I was talking about. Omaha 78. That was the tap-in. Kale, go do the jump back.
Do the jump back.
Oh, well,
do a flip, Kale.
Do a flip. But like a really big one, all the way back to the ship.
All right.
But I want to run the complete opposite direction and just be like, come and get me. Don't care about them. Look at me. I'm a burglar. Remember your wife. I've slept with her. Bye-bye. And like all of that stuff.
Susan? She's never.
Some goblin in a building is just going, I knew it.
I knew it.
Well, we will come back to Kale in a moment, because we've given you that spotlight. You see just nothing but lower class legs scrambling away, hurling taunts at the upper class as Kale disappears down an alleyway. Snargle, you are off into the narrows in between routes and stuff. Obviously, the Imperials can't follow you, which means the majority of what's going to happen in this next scene will fall upon Naomi, will fall upon Cyrus, will fall upon Nathaniel. However, because, Snargle, you did communicate, you want to keep an eye on folks. If a moment arrives where you can think of a way to assist the 3 of them by doing something just off camera, please absolutely let me know. In the meantime, you are charging off down the alley, but here's the thing about Goblin municipal codes. There just aren't any. So if you are imagining in your head the kind of like chase scene from a Michael Bay movie where like there's the pane of glass coming across and the fruit cart, like, oh yeah, all of that and way more. This place is chock full of folks, and I mean, like, a little gunfire, it's Tuesday, right? Of course you're expecting a little bit of violence. So the crowds aren't even scattering as much as you thought they would, even with the Imperials around. On top of that, you don't know how to navigate this place super well, and you have a general sense that like the ship is up and left of where you are now, but there's no street maps of this place that exist anywhere, let alone ones that you memorized. So as you tear off away, bullets ricocheting off the stone behind you, smashing into shops as goblin shopkeepers duck down, windows slamming shut, people trying to avoid this, that, and the others running along. The first problem that you will encounter is the narrow streetways that are already packed with stuff make it really difficult to get up speed, to get good distance. There's plenty of cover, but if you're trying to run, you're gonna have to either like learn how to run across the top of goblins' heads or something, or learn parkour real quick. How are you going to solve that problem in the fiction, in the narrative? What might you do to get these streets a little open, or to find an alternate route that will allow you to actually make good speed, as opposed to just like, oh, pardon me, excuse me, pardon me. Yep.
So whilst the excuse me, pardon me is definitely something that would be the preferred method, something tells me that imperial manners aren't going to help me against lack of imperial manners right now. So what's going to happen is I'm going to hang back slightly so that Naomi can use her incredible strength of 10 to bust this place open like a tin can and blaze on ahead. And I'm going to concentrate my energy on sort of twisting the elements around me, drawing down a gust of wind and then flinging it behind me to try and create almost a wall of just gale force winds behind us, basically, so the Imperials have real hard time following.
I would like to add on to that. As Nathaniel communicates briefly what his plan is and says, go on ahead. I do, kind of. I make my way through this crowd, kind of like shoving it. They're very, very light, the goblins, so it's very easy to just shove them away. But what I'm heading for is a big cart, just like a fish cart, right? Because what I want to do is I want to pick up this cart, and right before Nathaniel releases his gust of wind, I would like to throw the cart so that he can kind of like propel the cart forward too. And it'll kind of like smash apart and just kind of create a mess that the Imperials will also have to maneuver around, in addition to the wall of wind.
And I will add on to that, that Cyrus will take place next to Nathaniel or a bit behind him. And as they are planning to do that move, Captain will get out her pistol and sword and try to do suppressive fire to the back of them so that they do not have an easy time shooting at us. And if a bullet were to come for Nathaniel, she will try to deflect that with a sword and be the supportive shield while the others do the major damage, hopefully.
That's my captain.
Got 3 excellent ideas, which means I will need 3 dice pools and 3 rolls out of each of you. We will reveal the results in sequence, so if something amazing or something not amazing happens, do try to keep your facial expressions muted, because right now the people in chat are like, oh my god, are they gonna make it? And then if you make like a oh fuck face, it's gonna take all the fun out of it, right? In the meantime, I imagine that all this is happening. Snargle, you haven't made it that far yet, and you're just like hurling a single cabbage up over the wall, or like appearing out of from behind a little nook to throw a banana peel or something out.
No, my plan was to activate one of the emergency getaway slides that exist around the city. I'm gonna find one, kind of flag my group down, activate it, and I imagine it's kind of like those school slides that are yellow tubes that are impossible to slide down, just really uncomfortable, cause you to be all frictiony. So it's just something like that in the city, and I hit the button, it unfolds, and hopefully we can get away faster. And it's gonna be funny to see Imperials going one by one down a slide. So.
Well, I'm here for you on 99% of that, except there's one small key little piece, and that is you have been descending into the city, so the ship is up. So all of that, but is it okay with you if we trade a slide
for like a vacuum?
I was gonna say like a trampoline or a spring-loaded platform of some kind, or a staircase that comes out of a window, something that goes up instead of down. What do you?
Sure. Those are all great. Yeah, immediately my thoughts went to like the reverse slide, which is a vacuum that just sucks people up.
Okay, keep that in your pocket for just a moment, because we need to see if the crew can make it there at all. Now, what do we begin with? We start with Nathaniel, who is... you okay? Is there a ghost?
Sorry, Sorry, the cat briefly went missing. The partner found them. Oh my god.
That's a for real quick streaming emergency. If the cat goes missing, then like you all can fucking wait and chat. We have a situation to deal with. While we wait, is the cat situation sorted? Oh yes, I see.
Yeah, I can see them.
Yes, the cat is there.
They're safe.
So hi,
Very well.
Charlie.
She's fine. She did a stupid and hid too well.
If I had a nickel for every time I did a
Goblin.
stupid and hid too well.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Lord Blackbird, you reach up to the sky. You start pulling wind, and I mean, there's tons of it around here because you're in that part of the world, and clouds are spinning around. What was your result?
It was, drumroll please, an 11.
Fuck, really? I
Yeah.
wasn't looking. Jesus.
Yeah,
No, seriously.
Oh my god.
yeah.
I tried to keep a hold of my face so bad. It was just.
I yelled
You
at
did-
Gabe
you-
in chat because if you go back,
Yeah.
if chat goes back and like looks at his face,
Yeah.
he does not do a good job. And I'm yelling at him in chat. I'm like, Gabe, no, watch your face.
I also you rolled 11 dice, and the lowest you rolled was a 4.
It's
That's-
amazing.
There's
Probability.
5 6s out of there. Well, okay, so if all of you are failing rolls the remainder of the game, you know where all the probability went.
For
Yeah,
this
sorry about that one.
roll. Yeah.
So that is an astounding success. Well, I will let you, as once we level, I'll tell you what, let's sort out some of the things that happen, and then I'm just going to let you cut loose and tell me how all of this chaos unfolds. Naomi, you have picked the cart up. We assume you're strong to do that. How does your throw go?
I got 3 successes. It's not a great throw. The fish cart was heavier than I thought it would be. I should have obviously gone with the cabbage cart. It's actually, it's not even about heaviness. It's just like, it's encumbrance, right? Like it's awkward. It's awkwardly shaped. The cabbage cart, much more rectangular in shape, easier to lift. Fish cart, little unwieldy, but I got 3.
You know what it was? It was the novelty of the situation, because the fish cart is designed to look like an actual
Like
fish.
a fish, yeah.
And then when you go to pick it up, it's kind of unwieldy, whereas opposed to a
Mm-hmm.
cabbage cart is more round, and you can actually kind of like on the stones they lift for the
Mhm.
world's
Strongman.
heaviest stone lifter competition.
Strongman. It's literally called Strongman.
Well, they need to work on their branding.
Okay, well,
Uh,
it's worked
good-
for a very long time.
I think that's because there's not a lot of competition for heavy stone lifting companies on. They don't really have to go out and really make sure people know that. No, we're the rock lifting competition. You are thinking of the other people who just lift heavy things and move them around competition. That is very different. But that said, 3 would not normally be enough to succeed, but I cannot do Nathaniel dirty like that, because 11 successes means that there is wind to spare. And in fact, maybe that is the problem with your roll, is that you lift it up and you're ready to throw, but this thundering hurricane force wind just rips it out of your hand. All of this, of course, is contingent on Nathaniel being able to concentrate well enough to muster up all this energy. And Captain, that was your responsibility to keep everybody safe. How'd it go?
And I think I'm doing splendidly, because I may not want to see a bullet hole in my beloved passenger. So I have 5 successes in deflecting and suppressive fire.
All right, Lord Blackbird. So you're not getting shot. A, that's great. B, you have like full control of the Tempest. Marvel is going to be calling you up, being like, "Hey, you want to come work on a team? We can kick that other one out." Like, we haven't seen storms like this, and her name is Storm. So tell me what happens, my good friend, that takes the Imperials off your trail for just the time being, before you make it to our vacuum tube just down the way.
Well, first of all, I definitely did not expect it to go this well, but then again, I have not tried galactic wind control before, so that's a new one. That's fun for me. I think I pour so much energy into this that it does create like a ridiculous hurricane-like thing, and it just swirls out of the sky and it hits my hand and swirls around my arm, and it just gets bigger and bigger to the point where my eyes go fully white with the sheer force of trying to keep a hold of this thing, and I just let it grow and then hurl it back at the Imperials. And the effect is like a tsunami of pure gale force, and it cascades forward with a wall carrying debris and space rocks and anything it can find, even a little bit of those like fountain goobers that have been growing on the side of it for like decades. That's gone now. That's in an Imperial's eyeball somewhere. Yeah, that sucks. And probably quite a few of the houses that were lining the streets as well. They get ripped from their foundations and join the tidal wave as it rolls through the township. And the Imperials just get swept up in this mess of debris and force and flung back.
What's that you say? Imperials destroying housing in an impoverished country to suit their own needs, their own military needs. I've heard that story somewhere before.
Oh, am I the problem?
Well, although this is true, I will make one complication. It's not going to be a complication for you. It will be a complication for some of the other people, because there's no way you can muster that much wind and have your arms all up, and it's coming behind you. Your clothing, my good sir, your shirt. This is not that kind of stream. The wonderful billowy shirt that you had been wearing this time, your disguise costume has also gone into the wind.
That's my shirt. You owe me a shirt.
You are running the opposite direction, so if the wind goes far enough, that shirt's coming back. In fact, put a pin in that. Nathaniel, this is the situation you find yourself in. And Naomi, yeah, but it's not just the wind, it's the fish. And as the Imperials turn the corner and they're aiming, there's just cod and mackerel and sky squid and little cute ones that are just for decoration, like they're little pet fish, and they're just into the faces, smashing around, people slipping around. You see one Imperial, there's one of the shutters on the outside of a building that is just like bam, right in the torso. And of course, the little candies hurling around, little everlasting gobstoppers pelting people with the force of like hail being thrown down from the heavens. That is excellent news for all of you. Despite the cacophony, despite the howling, horrible tornado winds, you manage to hear that snargle whisper on the wind. Less of a whisper, more of a scream, as your goblin compatriot bangs on one of the Goblin Town's hidden compartment panel things. And describe this tube for me, actually, Snargle.
Well, first of all, it's kind of covered by plating on all sides, so you can't really tell what it is, but there is a sign overhead that says emergency escape tube right over it. So hidden, but very obvious at the same time. Very goblin mechanics. I pull off the front panel of it, smash the button. It begins to activate. There's like a shuddering of the equipment. The wind whipping around doesn't help much, and you can actually see the tube swaying thanks to the gale force. But I'm fairly certain it's still safe, so I'm flailing my arms trying to get the others to come over and ride this tube to goodness knows where.
I'm surprised they would label it so clearly, because what came into my head was this is the emergency suck spot. But then I realized I am on this show. That's the face that I was looking for. Thank you, everybody. So, Snargle, this tube comes down in segments, just like ka-chunk, 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 and then she opens up the door. Now, in it, Snargle, do you do like a cute little like see ya as the suction just like takes you up into through my the cord on my headphone just went flying with enthusiasm.
Something like that. I imagine it's gonna be more like I stand there with hands on my hips trying to look all cheeky, but the suction grabs my clothing and sucks me up before I can really do the whole maneuver. And hopefully, as I'm screaming and getting sucked away, the rest of the party kind of understands the assignment.
Maybe just before you like try to signal something, that's the moment when like we look up and you're desperately trying to hang on and signal something, but it's just like the screaming of you being suctioned in.
I see Snargle's like clinging to the top, like trying to stay put, like guys look, and then you finally turn, and just when the muscle gives away and like at the bank, Snargle goes flying out. Now, you've seen goblin technology before. This is being buffeted by the wind. Like, scale 1 to 10, what's your enthusiasm about stepping into this device right now?
And there'd be
One.
negative numbers.
Yeah, right there.
Okay. Well, that means one of you is going to have to be very, very brave, and be the first human to try this device. Probably not even like right now, but for the first time in Goblin history, the human is going to step into the emergency escape suction tube.
I think
Obviously, the
Naomi
captain.
should,
No.
because Naomi should check if it's safe for
I definitely think the
one they're
captain
bodyguarding.
should.
You
No,
know?
I definitely think the captain should.
Yeah, but the
Uh,
captain
if
is
we
keeping
hear-
on the
if we
fences
hear-
and reflecting bullets. So I think
If we
Naomi,
hear the
as the
captain
bodyguard, to
screaming,
keep
we know that this
Nathaniel
is not a good
safe,
idea.
I think you should. Yeah, I
No.
glad we
Nathaniel.
both agree.
Bring some order to this conversation. Sort these ladies out. You have leadership literally in your blood. If I took a microscope and looked at your blood right now, there'd be a bunch of people sitting around a parliamentary desk formulating a plan. Bring some sense to this.
Well, you see,
Nathaniel, one
Yeah.
thing I do before, like, you can stop
Oh
squinting.
my
me.
god. Oh
One
my
thing Captain
God.
will do is take off their jacket and offer it to Nathaniel because their shirt got suctioned off. Please do continue.
awesome. I turn away from channeling this tornado, look down and go, oh, and then take the jacket and put it around my shoulders and go, well, looking deep within and seeing those little people around their mahogany desk with their files and stuff, I have a brief moment where I clock the order of it all, and then if you just imagine all of these little tiny people tapping their manila folders on the table, turning to the camera and just flinging those fuckers up in the air, that's what happens. Is Nathaniel cracks his knuckles and goes, right, well, better late than never, and jumps into the thing.
Gone in an instant. Snargle. I don't know that this is addressed actually in the canon. If the goblin changes shape, does the amount of material stay the same? Like, is it the same density?
I don't know, but I would absolutely, for my own amusement, love to be able to change my mass.
I mean, that feels more magical.
Mhm.
This is one of the. I mean, I don't know, Nathaniel. Did you study goblins when you went to the academy?
But I didn't even know that they were a thing until like 3 weeks ago. My guy, I have no answers.
Different elective. Okay. Well, whatever this thing is weight rated for, actually, no, it makes sense because a Snargle is an average-sized goblin, but you have seen some big chungus goblins and you've seen some very, very small chungus goblins. So, yeah, just the second you're in, gone. Now, Cyrus, Naomi, staring at each other. I'm no doubt.
Oh,
Well,
I go
first of all-
next.
Okay.
I
was gonna-
dive in right after him. If Cyrus even makes a move, I like pick her up by her shirt, move her, set her down, and then go in. Absolutely not letting her go in after him.
Worth saying that Naomi weighs a bit more than Nathaniel because muscle is heavier than oh god, I couldn't think of the word in time. I was gonna say like paunce, but what I mean is like what's the word for like posh as like a noun? Anyway, muscle weighs more than posh, so it's not it's and for a moment doesn't seem to do it, and then like somewhere off deep there's a goblin like mechanical plant somewhere that has no idea what's going on over there when someone's like, hey, actually I need 2 goblin names. Can someone throw out 2 goblin names real quick?
York.
Yorg?
Yeah.
Derek.
Kale? Yorg and Derek? All right.
Love this.
So Derek is walking down the lines, looking at all the different like gauges and needles, and sees one that's like, and he's like, Yorg, is it supposed to be doing that? And Yorg looks up from like not a naughty magazine, but like Goblin Maxim, right? Like on the edge, a lad mag. And he's like, what? And he's like, the thing, it's doing the... And Yorg just like reaches over, finds an empty coffee thermos, throws it, and it bangs against the gauge. And then halfway across the city, now Naomi just goes rocketing up. I'm assuming with Captain Cyrus Vance shortly behind.
Well, you're assuming that, but I first have a question for our dearest Kale. When they made the distraction maneuver and they said like, yeah, I have jump, I can jump back to the ship. Does Captain know that you have this? Have you used this before? And is it failsafe? Because your magic is not as reliable as we all know it to be.
I am gonna say it's not failsafe. Like that's how the rules work. I wanna leave that up to you as to whether or not you've seen this before. But you've seen the look before of like, Captain, I'm about to do something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a am I allowed to do something stupid? It is I am going to do something stupid.
Yeah, so then Captain will not follow suit in the tube. Captain will use the tube because she will shout something in it so that it reaches their ears and Snargle's ears still. But then she will make sure that the entrance here is blocked so that the Imperials cannot follow through in the pipe, and then she'll run. But she'll shout in the pipe, get the ship ready! And then block off the entrance.
So we're going to do two different shifts here. The first one being back to that mechanical plant where the coffee thermos has bounced off this thing, but now it's blocked, so it's going... And then you just... Boom! Like something explodes in there, and then I need a third goblin name.
Flibbert.
So Flibbert, the shift supervisor, comes in and he's like, what the fuck just happened down here? And Jorg looks at Derek, he's like, I don't know, he was touching it. And Derek is like, what the fuck, man? You threw the thing. I don't know what he's talking about. You can't trust the young goblin thief. And it descends into blame shifting goblin, just a mess of fingers pointing, fingers getting larger. Snargle, I don't know, is this culturally true that the more emphatic the point you're trying to make, the bigger you make your finger go?
Yeah, obviously. It
Well,
just makes sense. If you continue to enlarge whatever you're I can't even finish this. But if you continue to make your finger bigger, it definitely people will notice it more, and it's you can't argue with it.
Is that true, Lord Blackbird? That to make a point, you enlarge it so people notice it more.
Listen, if you're a shower, not a grower, that's on you. You don't need to explain that to the crowd.
I'm so sorry. I feel like this was a trap laid by Aaron.
It probably was.
And I stepped right into it.
No,
Right
because
into
we
it,
established last episode. I have no idea what like 90% of the lingo traps I can walk into are. I'm not cool enough to do that. But I am cool enough to tell the story because apparently I'm not, because I'm still fucking laughing at that. The goblin machine plant explodes. There's blaming, and the camera zips across the city to find Kale Arkham. Now, Kale, you have a plan, and it really doesn't matter which direction that you're running because you're gonna jump back, but you've got way more Imperials than maybe you wanted chasing behind you. And they don't give a fuck if they kill you.
Yeah.
So, let's start out with this. You come charging down I now said one direction. My head went to the, hip, but that's a band. See what you've done? You go charging down one particular alleyway. You turn left, there's Imperials there. There's a couple of them, 2 or 3. You turn right, there's Imperials there, 2 or 3. Ahead of you is a wall. It might be scalable. Like you could hop up a crate and then jump over onto like a little, probably like a cord that's got some goblin laundry drawing on it. And then you could scramble up. But I don't know what you're going to do. What are you going to do?
Are there any, like, local goblins around?
Oh, this place is made of like 70% local goblin by volume.
I'm gonna still kind of like keeping up the big old like charade. As soon as I see that kind of like the street entrances are blocked off and the Imperials are getting closer, I'm gonna call out to as many of the local goblins as I see and be like, hey, there's an Imperial platoon here. They said Bug Jam sucks.
What kind of mischief roll do you have available to you? I don't know what skill that would fall under.
No, I don't either. This is just me being a little shit.
Yeah, well, roll being a little shit for me, and we'll see. We'll see
how
what
many
comes of it.
dice can I put under? Okay, 1.
Or if as you're going through your dice and you find a way to say, well, I could add this little element of flourish, maybe drag in this thing, that would be fine. I don't actually know your sheet super well. I could maybe come back and look to that one.
I think I've got it. It's not a huge pool. So that's 3 successes.
Okay, that's fine. You do get some goblin mischief. You are, of course, they don't really want the Imperials here, and for nothing else, news hasn't made it here yet. But there's another Imperial asshole who just ruined like 4 houses and a perfectly good cart full of fish. So there's no.
Man, that guy sounds like an asshole.
What a dick! The sympathy for Imperials around here not hard to muster them to want to maybe cause some trouble. I'm going to turn my storyteller keys over to you for a second and say if a 4 is a totally normal success and a 3 is a success, but what do the goblins that you summon manage to do for you?
I think they managed to get underfoot and delay these Imperials enough, not allowing Kale a like complete getaway or anything like that, but it's enough to give him a bit of space that he can start that scale of that climb of that scalable wall without the Imperials immediately just being like, he stopped running, bang. They've got a little bit more to deal with of like goblins pulling at their boots and taking guns out of holsters and pulling trousers down and all shit like that.
Oh yeah, no, this is Endor, and the Ewoks are just like hiding, and they're putting the stick out to trip them up and things like that. Absolutely. So you go scrambling up along the way. What the fuck? You make it almost to the top, and you're getting ready to put your hands up, and there's just that urge to look right over your shoulder. And that is the moment that this cloth comes hurtling down the alleyway, spinning around, hits you across the face. And when you come to peel that away, Kale, tell me what that is.
That's my fucking shirt.
That's your fucking shirt. So you haul yourself back up over the edge, either stuffing this shirt into your pocket or even putting it on. Who knows? And then the camera now swoops back over to the top of the wherever this exited out of. Now, here's the thing about Goblin Town. There's no OSHA, right? Like, no railings. People might not even know this thing exists, let alone how to repair it or maintain it. So as the tube going like up and snaking around, like very Futurama looking as you go into shot. At one point you go like through the floorboards of a tavern and you're looking up at all the goblins who were there like, what the shit? And then you get dumped out into an alley, but it's only an alley on one side, because on the right side is the infinite expanse of the sky behind you, and there's only about maybe 2 or 3 feet at the widest for you to crawl over this cracked pavement, like the brickwork laid together, obviously mortar, not a goblin strong suit. And that by itself would be bad enough if you're the kind of person who's afraid of heights, but worse than that, you also hear that steamy whirring of a ship engine. Not a ship engine, like a little scout craft engine, and a little I want to say maybe the size of a speedboat comes flying up with the Imperial colors behind it, and troopers are turning to order you to the ground.
Beans. Okay.
What do you do?
Okay. So Sky.
He's stalling. Naomi, tell me what you do.
Help.
Oh
no.
Is there anything like a loose piece of like sheet metal or anything around?
For sure.
Great.
This place is like 70% loose sheet metal by volume.
Okay, that's kind of what I assumed. So as we kind of are dealing with this, I would like to kind of pick up this sheet metal and hold it in front of us, kind of like a shield. And I would like to just start running along this pathway, because obviously they're gonna try and shoot at us, I'm guessing. So yeah, just would like to try and keep us safe as we're running along trying to get back to our ship.
Well, I don't want you to take this personally. I mean it in the nicest way possible. You are fairly wide, and this area is fairly narrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that you can do this quickly, safely, or without getting shot. Pick two.
Oh,
So by
Quickly
safely,
and without
I
getting
mean
shot.
by safely. Just for clarity, I'm going to say by safely, I mean you're not going to like trip over any of the rock. Nothing's going to come out from under you. You'll be able to keep your feet under you as you make this crossing. And the getting shot, it's not just like you will get shot, someone will get hurt, but it would leave an opening as like you are, if you're trying to go very, very quickly, but also stay on the path, then you might be wobbling around and they might be able to get a shot off. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Is it guaranteed, or is it kind of a roll we'll leave to the luck of the dice?
What happens?
Not get shot and safely, unfortunately.
Okay, so Naomi is in the front-ish, making as much of a. I mean, I think Snargle could probably fit behind you, because you can't lift that much sheet metal without having,
To grow larger and possibly get shot.
well, I was just saying that her royal thickness over there, when she's squatting down to hold this, would not leave a ton of room for someone Nathaniel size or larger to be behind her, lest you be crushed between two immovable objects, Naomi's glutes and then the goblin construction. So there's room enough behind that, but you're making really slow progress, and you can just hear the gunshots and then like the ping, 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 ping as it's ricocheting, punching into the metal. Every now and again, one shot hits one of the weaker spots, and the little bits of daylight streaming through it as you're just holding it and like crawling along. The situation is not tenable for a long time. Cyrus, Nathaniel, Snargle, you got anything for me? Something you wanted to turn the odds?
I mean, that's a craft. That's a flying thing. If something hits it really hard, they're probably not gonna like it a lot. So maybe now's a little bit of a great time for yet some more saucy bullshit. Of the lightning variety, maybe, so we can fry some engines.
I am happy for all of this, and the thing you're going to run into is you need to be able to see what you're aiming at, right? Do you sure you want to poke your head out from behind the safety metal at the Imperials?
Yeah, I think so. Because,
Okay.
if they shoot me...
I offered, all right? You get your dice pool going, my friend. I tried to help you.
Here's the thing. If they shoot me, they're going to have a really bad day explaining to command.
I mean, that's
I
a point, because they're supposed to bring him in. I assume they're trying to shoot me.
Okay. There's no risk without reward. There's no reward without risk. Watch Nathaniel assemble that pool together. Snargle, Cyrus, you can do something to aid in this moment if you would like. I also see Naomi waving the idea finger.
Yes. Obviously, my time working with guns and stuff like that, I can kind of get a sense for, as these shots are coming in, when they kind of have to reload their weapons, right? So would I be able to use my keen, either like insightful or like aware, to kind of be like, okay, all right, so you've got like, there's an opening coming up, just like count to 4 and then like go, to kind of assist him in finding the best time to poke his head out?
I would like you, I'm going to tell you no, and I'm going to tell you that you should Google fire by rank and find the Wikipedia page that will explain why, in this case, that is not going to work. Because one of the key developments of warfare in the Revolutionary era, slightly before I actually believe, was they would line up and then first rank fires, ducks, second rank fires, then the third rank fires, and that lets you maintain a continuous volley while individual ranks reload. And they don't have, gigantic, like from the Patriot Mel Gibson lines of fire coming at you, but even at the squad or platoon level, they would be drilled as such. You don't get to oppress an entire planetary aligned sky land without learning how to maintain sufficient volumes of fire in critical situations. Are you actually Googling it now? I saw your eyes moving
No.
back and forth from the page.
No, I was literally just looking at the different cameras in Zoom.
Look at that roll. That's very nice.
Well, this is great. Go ahead and tell us how you done.
Okay, so that is 10 successes with 3 dice from my pool. Clearly, something has clicked for me today, and I am really done with these people's nonsense. They are threatening my new crew and also my good friend Naomi, and frankly, that is not going to fly. So, I think that perhaps I should also make them not be able to fly. So I'm going to extend my hand into the air, click my fingers a few times to generate that kind of friction that I need. And you smell the ozone begin to build up as the tension begins to build in the air, much like the tension between Syriinx and Nathaniel. And just for that last spark of motivation, I flick my eyes over to the side to see Cyrus with her weapons out, sort of hair flowing in the tornado.
No. To be clear, your clothes are the ones that got blown off, not Cyrus's.
Well, I can dream, Harold. So that's the whole thing.
Cyrus isn't there.
Yeah, and
Oh,
to
no.
be clear, you're dreaming about Cyrus, but Cyrus is off to get
Mirage.
all of her crew
Just
to survive it. So,
Well, so
you,
then, yeah, you can picture it.
yeah,
picture
you
it,
can
buddy.
definitely picture it.
Well,
Oh,
in
man.
that case, Cyrus
Beautiful
can
mirage.
have her weapons out. That's fine. It's your head. You can see whatever you want.
Well, there we go. It's my hallucination, Aaron. God. Yeah, and then as the ozone reaches sort of critical mass, I bring both of my hands down in a dramatic flared gesture as the lightning storm whacks into the front of the craft where the engine block would be.
Right on top of the engine. Hey, Snargle, you're a pilot. What do engines require to work?
Well, combustion, fuel.
Mhm. Fuel, yes. I want your professional sky goblin opinion. Do lightning and fuel get along?
They explode, and it's very exciting. You typically don't want to mix those.
Me and Snargle have had fun. Kale and Snargle have had fun in the engine room, mixing Kale's magic with Snargle's fuel.
Someone a little bit of snap to get the lightning to hit the pool of oil, and then lighting your cigarette off the resulting explosion. Well, you could certainly light any number of cigarettes off of this explosion, because the lightning smashes down the entire thing, immediately glows with that white hot energy, and there's just that pinch of a moment where anyone looking at it could see the glow, and then the metal starts to expand just a little bit as that explosion begins, and then the film comes back to full speed, and boom, entire thing gets blown apart. Naomi, I need you to make strength rolls to keep all that together. Regardless of the result of that, this will determine if anyone gets injured by flying debris. It's going to smash against that metal panel, which will then smash against you, and as this explosion happens, it pushes you through the shoddy goblin construction wall, tumbling into the room behind. There's a goblin family who have heard the gunshots, and they've got their table put together as like a little thing. They're all ducking behind it. The explosion happens, and then in order from oldest to youngest, daddy goblin, mommy goblin, kid goblin, just poke up above it. There's an awkward silence as they look at you, looking at them with the sky, and then there's still the smoke and everything rising up behind. And then at a moment of comedic timing, one of the soldiers that got blown straight upward comes falling back down through the frame, through the background. Naomi, how did your dice go?
I called on 2 dice from my pool, and I ended up with 5 successes.
5 is good. 5 was the target. That means that as all this happened, when the actual engine block thunked against your little shield, you were able to keep anything from going awry. Do any of you speak Goblin?
I think I might.
Well, you do, yes.
Speak Snargle.
I like the idea that there's a specific dialect called Snargle, and it leads to a discussion where all Goblin pilots who work on mercenary vessels are called Snargle, and it's just it's a title, not a name, but she's just been rolling with it the whole time. That is a little ridiculous, though.
Snargle is actually my nickname. My full name is Snaggletooth.
Oh my goodness! Now it makes so much sense.
So the goblins don't speak, and Nathaniel, despite the demands of propriety in this moment, you cannot communicate them to them your deepest sympathies for accidentally blowing the back wall of their house out.
Yeah, there's just a look of, ooh, my bad. And that's it. He's got nothing. I've got nothing left. That's all you're getting.
Can I take the sheet metal and just kind of like, as we're just like locked eyes with the goblins, just like bring it around and like place it in the hole, and then just.
I like the gesture. I think the hole's a bit bigger than the sheet metal, but yeah, you're just trying to get it to hold as much as possible, and then just tap it a couple times as you all tiptoe out.
Yeah, that is a square piece in a very, very large circular blast-shaped hole.
Mm-hmm. Hey, but you're all fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
There's a similarly shaped hole in their house as well from last Tuesday, so it's just, an event here.
Now it matches.
Yeah.
Well, elsewhere in the city, Kale has managed to excavate themselves. Sorry to drop the dice again. Has managed to spare themselves from the humiliating capture at the hands of the Imperials by scrambling up onto a second story is definitely the wrong word, but making it up to the next tier of this sprawling goblin metropolis. Cyrus, you have fled back to rescue or assist one of your other crew members back to the ship. Where are you going to find them? If you had to track down a Kale Arkham in a scene full of chaos, where would you go?
I think first heading in the general direction, like back where we came from and where I know that they went in the opposite direction. But once I pass the point of like, I've been here, now I'm like, I don't know where they went. I'm trying to hear the specific cussing and like little things that they're probably throwing out, like either it be them mocking someone, them shitting on someone, or them actually tripping on something and apologizing for it before like running further off. So I think I'll navigate alleyways and just like listen and then be like, it's too quiet here, it's too quiet, they wouldn't have gone here, they wouldn't. And try to navigate my way like that.
It's like sonar, but instead of listening for the ping, you just hold your ear on the wind and wait for someone to go, the monarchy's too expensive and is using taxpayers.
And also, like the busier streets, I think they would like to make some grand gestures and paint themselves as a martyr. So what are you if you just perish in an empty street? They wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Occasionally just standing on a wall and yelling out to a group of goblins. It's like, you have nothing to lose but your chains.
Now we have two completely different games because Nathaniel's going to go have a final confrontation with Uriah, and then in the background, Kale is organizing a class revolt. That convinces me quite well that you will eventually be able to track down Mr. Arkham. However, en route, both of you are going to have to deal with Imperials of some sort. Being accosted, being surprised, being ambushed. Each of you, in your own special way, can tell me how you deal with that situation.
I would quite like to imagine that...
Cyrus?
Ooh?
You said I would quite like to imagine.
Right. You know what? I've already imagined Cyrus. That's my hack. That's my tip. If you wish to feel inspired, keep Cyrus at the forefront of your mind. That's just how it should be. Mm-hmm. Anyways, so it's probably not inconceivable that I do in fact know one of these dipshits. So as I'm running through the streets, sort of Naomi by my side, and we're darting for the ship. we turn a corner and there's just this very well-dressed specimen of a guy, like, you know, full mustache, oiled to dramatic points, epaulettes, the whole shebang, and he's got like a cane with an eagle handle. You know, he's that guy. And I skid to a halt and go, "Oh, Graham, hi."
I was muted. I was gonna say, in my head, I was like, Captain Reese-Mogg, what are you doing here? What is your goal in this situation? I'm happy to let you tilt the narrative, but yes, this officer who would have paraded in front of your household at some point. The nobility mingles with the senior military leadership. What are you trying to accomplish there?
I think maybe Graham had a slight crush on me in the past, and like maybe he's let me get away with things before. And I'm thinking that maybe just I'm thinking that maybe we can just, you know, for old time's sake, let this one slide so that he can forget he ever saw us.
Mm-hmm. So as we've been waiting for the result on that, Captain Vance, Kale, Arkham, have you assembled your dice pools?
I first wanted to run it by you, but I'll assemble the dice pool for it then. Because Cyrus will basically try to knock out one of the Imperial guards following them, and then use the costume or the clothes from them to pretend to also be one. And when they notice others, be like, they went that way for sure. That kind of spiel.
A little bit of rough housing for sure. Kale, you have an idea?
I just don't really like that idea. I think...
Oh my god, this is perfect if you both knock it out and you're both pretending to be Imperials. I love this. Do this, please.
Can I do that too?
Yes!
That's funny. Okay.
Yes, roll your various amounts of rough housing to see how that goes, and then be ready for that scene, because I'm going to say, like, you two run into each other dressed as Imperials, and what does that look like? In the meantime, Nathaniel, you said his name was... The officer's name was...
Graham, like the cracker.
Yeah.
Yes, Graham. It was Officer Graham Forthright.
I was like, wow. Is he from the Virginia Forthrights or the New Hampshire Forthrights?
Who knows, Aaron? Who knows? I'm not... You are too American for me to understand that reference, sir.
When in America, there are very rich families that have multiple branches, so you might be, like, from the New York branch of this particular, like, old Steel Baron dynasty, or the North Carolina branch.
Oh, I see. Right, you see, because it wasn't separated into various dukedoms. Like, I'm too British to understand it.
I think in the UK you do cadet houses is how that normally works.
Yeah, that or sort of denominations of favorite type of biscuit. That also works.
I am the 4th Earl of... what are the different kinds of biscuits?
Nice biscuits, except, you know, you don't want to touch them because they're French.
I'm learning so much all at once.
We hate the French.
I knew.
They hate us too, though, so it's fair. It's balances.
One thing I know about European history is that the English hate the French and vice versa. Okay. What was the nature of your relationship with Graham here?
Well, we were dance partners once, and he had a very, very deep love for a very specific type of waltz. So as I sort of run into him, I do sort of grab his arm by the hand and sort of spin him and end up on one side of him sort of playfully and go, "Fancy seeing you here."
What kind of voice does Graham have?
Oh, I think he's just a regular posh jerk. So I think any accent that you can imagine coming out of somewhere, some boarding school in Cambridge, you know, like it's ugh.
The kind of accent that you hear and immediately think, I want to punch this person in the face.
Yeah.
Come on, Aaron.
Have you heard
your British?
Have you heard the it doesn't my money don't jiggle jiggle, it folds? I'm imagining it's that
No,
accent.
Aaron is not on TikTok. He actually, I can say without a doubt that he has not seen that video yet.
Amazing.
My money don't jiggle jiggle.
I was imagining the head butler from Downton Abbey.
That
nice,
works fine.
Yes.
I can't do that accent, but now you're all hearing it, so that's fine with
Great.
me. So you spin around, and there's a moment of confusion, like when something like that happens, and you're like, "What in the?" Or would it be like, "My word"? And then if you wrap around, does this maneuver end with you like face to face?
It does very much so, and I'm dipping him ever so slightly.
So he's looking up at you,
Yeah.
like, "Lord Blackbird," and he just kind of blinks.
Captain.
And you can see him trying to get the orders right and knowing what he has to do, but he's got his arm draped around you, and he's like, "You're not supposed to be here."
I just put my finger to his lips and I say, "Shh, it's okay. Listen, you and I, we've always had fun, haven't we? I think maybe for all those times that we've snuck away after dance practice, you owe me one more bit of mischief. Don't you?"
I really don't think we have time for that. My patrol will be back within 4 or 5 minutes, and I know in the past that was long enough, but things have changed.
It totally, I mean, that's the thing though, isn't it? I'm sure that you've only developed in your skill of the dance, my dear. So what I'm going to need from you is to just go that way, forget you saw me, and then I'll repay the favor later.
I could never forget that I've seen you. I think about you all the...
Sure, I'm gonna need you to like outwardly forget that you've seen me. Yes, no, thoroughly never forget my face. I mean, you never will, but there we go. That's fine.
And I'm assuming this conversation ends with him nodding and you just very gently laying him down on the ground.
I just spin him again and then propel him in the opposite direction to where we're running, and then I just go, "We need to go," and leg it.
Wonderful. That was beautiful. I was actually moved in that moment. I only hope now that having committed to the physical bit, you'll actually be able to see me on the camera once the overlays are intact. So, my mischief twins here, Captain Vance, Mr. Arkham, how did Nim's dice do?
Not great on my end, unfortunately. I rolled a pool of 10 and managed 3 successes.
3, given the circumstances. Now, we know that you've been causing lots of trouble. You've been agitating.
I've got a lot of eyes on me.
Yes, but it's also very, very crowded, right? So you escaped that initial group of folks, and really you just have to like duck into an alcove, wait for one of them to come by and ambush and grab. So 3 should be enough.
The specific tag that Kale is making, like obviously using a lot of them, the specific tag that I'm looking at is dirty fighting. It's you know, hiding in an alley, getting out, getting a guy in a headlock, and just it's unpleasant, just choking him out, getting his uniform. It's not nice. It's an unpleasant thing, and if many goblins walk past seeing this tussle going on, it's like, oh.
I mean, 2 humans, who cares?
Yeah.
Right.
It's a nasty scrap.
The rich, you're in the part of town now that the rich goblin's like, my God, the way some people live. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to V's face, but when you said that choking someone out is dirty business, I'm going to go back into the chat now, or into the thing as I watch, and just see what kind of agreement I get from that side of the screen. Cyrus Vance, Captain Vance, how did your efforts go?
Mine went splendidly with 6 successes, so I imagine Cyrus popping into one of the alcoves, waiting, like knowing exactly how many seconds to wait until one will pass by. Like, okay, 1, 2, 3, yoinking an arm out, grabbing it into the alcove, and butting their head with the like bottom of the sword.
Excellent. Nice little pommel strike there.
Yeah, and then taking that, putting that on, and being slightly disgusted by myself.
I'm glad you went that way, because I was imagining for a moment that, like, if you'd both gone with the choke someone out in the alleyway, I'm just going to say that it's opposite alleys on either side of the same building. and then you're gonna come around the corner and it's gonna be the Spider-Man meme. But there's no reason that cannot be the case. With the 6, yours will happen faster, which means you'll be the one out on the street. And on a 3, I would say maybe something goes a little bit wrong, like the armor gets scuffed up, or a shirt.
I think Kale. It's a dirty fight, and I think Kale takes a blow to the face and is bleeding a little bit.
Oh, so there it goes. You turn the corner, Captain Vance. There is an Imperial looking a little dazed, not drunk dazed, but clearly having just exerted themselves. The uniforms are uniforms, but like we're talking like masks or helmets and stuff too, right? Yeah. What is the point of having Imperial troops if they don't have like stormtrooper helmets and so on, right? So you see all this, but there's also like that little bit of blood like trickling down from behind the visor. But you don't know, this is critical, you don't know that it's Kale. So the two of you are looking at each other like, oh shit, I've been made by like this random alone Imperial.
Nah, Cyrus slips into a roll and just like facing towards this other Imperial soldier goes, "What are you doing, soldier? You're just standing around and waiting? The Empire waits on no one! Get them!"
I immediately take off the helmet. I know that voice. What the fuck?
Fuck, it's you. Great.
Yeah.
Get in that alcove.
Okay, and I put the helmet back on.
So you've ducked back into the alleyway, now what?
And I'm like, hey, I put both hands on his shoulders and say, as much as I appreciate your kind maneuvering and distraction gestures, I'm not leaving you behind again. Because the last time I did that, I needed to make a detour again with ship to actually come pick you up because you couldn't get on the ship because your magic didn't let you get there.
I had it handled, all right? I was fine.
Shush, we're going to the ship.
Okay.
I grab them a bit like closer and I want to use my secret of the warp blood.
Oh.
No. And I want to just warp us back to the ship.
You can... That's my thing!
It's not.
Well,
I have warp blood.
They work slightly differently. I don't... God, well, this is one of the things about Lord Blackbird. If you decide to play it at home, all the different characters have their own keys and secrets, and they are defined just enough to get you into trouble. I think Naomi has the only one that's like very clear cut, which is like you can just break shit with your hands, have fun. And all the other ones are just like a little vague. In the case of warp blood, I don't know. Let's see. Would it work that you could go back to any place that you'd seen? Would it be you have to have line of sight to a place you're going? Is it attached to a specific object? Like you have a trinket?
Can I say that because the only other time that I used it, it was to get to the ship. So it would be something bound to the ship, as in like going somewhere else is very difficult, and there's a possibility that I don't get on target. Especially if I don't know the place or like have only been there once. But because the ship is my ship and my home, and Kale is my crew, for like the easiest thing for Captain to do is to get back to the ship.
Mm-hmm. That makes perfect sense to me. That in a moment like this, in a moment of stress, you'll be able to call upon your memory of the ship. That's the one place you should always go. And I should say, the same applies for Snargle being able to find the way back through the city with Nathaniel and Naomi in tow. Unfortunately, there's one other person who knows in moments like this, the ship is the first place you're going to go. So I want you to imagine that Snargle and Nathaniel and Naomi, you're charging up through goblin-choked alleyways. There's always Imperials around, ducking shots, occasionally having to elbow a private out of the way, a soldier, to be clear. Then finally making your way back to the dock. And you turn the corner and see this. And then at the same time, just to your right, there's this misty kind of like mirage effect, and then a sound of like a warping bubble, kind of like a, and then Cyrus and Kale have just woofed into existence, kind of stepping through time out there. I want to say that there's only one of you who really recognizes the face there. One, I mean, you've all seen him. There's one of you who knows those eyes better than any other eyes. And there's one of you who knows those lips better than any other lips. So when Uriah Flint is standing in front of the owl with his arms crossed, flanked on either end with towering, thickly muscled, tattooed pirates, I only have one question before we head off to break, and that is, Nathaniel, what is Uriah's pet name for you?
For me? Little bird.
That's really sweet. So you all arrive here in this dramatically appropriate moment, and he's got his arms crossed and a big smile across his face, and he goes, I knew you'd come back to me, little bird. And now, you don't ever get to leave again. And with that statement, we will take off on a quick 15-minute break. When we come back, we will find out exactly what Uriah means with this threat. But not before we all had a chance to stretch and hydrate. For those of you in the audience, we will return in just a wee little bit. Call it 10 minutes, and we'll see you soon.
Scott. It's fun, isn't it?
When we shared this story, we invite others to understand who we are in the universal grammar of the human soul. You're listening to the All Night Society, an actual play podcast by Queen's Court Games.
At their best, my younger days were spent excelling in everything. And at their worst, I spent a lot of time suffocating under the weight of inferiority.
It takes a special kind of person to read between the lines of code and instantly perceive what those random strings of letters and numbers actually mean.
Look, I wanted to be a cop as long as I can remember. I wanted to be the one kicking down doors and yelling, "Everyone, hands in the air."
I cannot imagine an eternity squandered on so vain an effort. We are not immaculate. Our humanity lives within our flaws.
I don't remember dying, but I do remember undying. That feeling of being pulled back from the empty void, how it takes you a few seconds to realize that you're not breathing.
Alfred is committing quite the sin, wasting your talents like this, she'd offer. This was the most seen I'd felt in ever.
This was monstrous. I was the monster. And were it not for the beast's intense fear of the sun, I might have simply waited for it to rise and claim me.
This wasn't graduate school anymore. This was war. Suffice it to say, that necessitated a change in curriculum.
I remember her sighing and saying, "You're in trouble, Scarlet," and I just laughed and said, "No shit."
Was he murdering his betrayer? Was his betrayer murdering him? I couldn't say, but I knew better than to walk in after him.
I'm making eye contact with him, and his fear rattled my core.
Put simply, Sheriff, you're in Chicago to deal with the kindred monsters. I'm here to deal with the other kind.
They are the angels, brought and held together as children by their status as outcasts and freaks. Imaginative and tormented, Thomas has suffered greatly under the care of his foster family. How far would you go for release, for salvation?
Goth culture was the perfect escape for young, rebellious Gabrielle. Now she's traded her innocence for alcohol, tattoos, and an abusive ex.
Michael couldn't fight his way out of that basement, and he's been doubling down on violence ever since. When being strong isn't enough, where else do you go?
Teenage Tarla leaned hard into the outcast persona, using her hair as a mood ring. Now she's buried trauma, and with it, the capacity to love and trust.
Ralph wasn't always a conspiracy-obsessed deep web denizen. What happened that turned a fantasy-loving book nerd into something much, much worse?
Will these bonds hold true when they're reunited for sinister purpose in adulthood? Find out in His Last Hope, a story of lost friendships and childhood traumas for Cult Divinity Lost.
Welcome back, everybody. Oh my god, can I tell you how upset the 5 of these people are now that I've told them what's going on? Like, let them know that, yes, like, this is actually a betrayal and it's going to be crazy.
So rude. So rude.
Very.
I haven't gotten that many angry DMs at once, so I fucking couldn't think of something funny in time to put there.
You're
Well, that's on me.
overestimating yourself, Aaron.
Who would have guessed that the Pirate King would betray us?
Whoa,
What?
shocker.
Hey, some of you were deeply in love with the Pirate King, and some of you believed it was their responsibility to protect that romantic interest from other shady
Couldn't
shirtless
be me.
figures in the room.
Who would do that?
Well, we'll have plenty of time to point extended goblin pointing fingers at one another. once the situation has cleared. When we departed, the last thing you heard Uriah Flint say was, "You're gonna be mine forever now, little bird." And as that mocking, horrible revelation is just like dropped in front of you, you hear a different familiar voice coming up now from behind you. Yes, excellent work, Mr. Flint. Once they are in my possession, the paperwork will be sealed and you can be on your way. And Captain Hollis steps out, flanked by his own Imperial soldiers. And I can see the face that Nathaniel is making, which means Uriah can see it, and he can go, "Oh, don't be sad. What we had was truly wonderful. But the Empire wants you back. And Mr. Hollis has paid a considerable sum to see Cyrus Vance delivered. I can trade both of you for my freedom and all the money that I need to continue my life the way a pirate king should live."
That wasn't the deal.
You know what? Uriah, I'm happy for you. I really am, because the young man you met a few weeks ago, the one you want to trade in, you left him way back in that abandoned wing. You left him there, and he's gone now. And now you have to deal with me, and I'm done with you. I am so done with you. And even if you escape here, let me tell you something. You are not escaping my wrath. And I run forward, I'm going to deck him.
Well, hold off on just that last bit, because you stepped over something very important coming from Mr. Arkham.
I think I don't want to have not had that bit happen, but I think just as Nathaniel starts running forward, Kale is going to get in front of Nathaniel, not like to stop you running forward, but as almost as if you're not there. And Kale is shaking and is looking at Uriah and is like, "That wasn't the deal. You said we'd be good."
Hold up. What is it? Captain takes a hat and flings it back and is like, "Hold up. I'm sure we can come to an agreement here. Kale, what are you talking about? Speak fast."
Kind of look to Cyrus, look back to Uriah. "You said we'd be good."
Hey, and you know what? I'm keeping my end of the bargain there. You give Nathaniel to me, I give him to the Imperials, and we all get our clean slates. I'm not reneging on that. There's just been a new development, a cooperative enterprise with my friend here. And he's gesturing to Captain Hollis. So your deal with me, totally fine. I will acknowledge that. Your deal with him, well, that's outside of the terms of our contract now, isn't it?
Just standing there.
More words, Kale. More words. What did you do?
Nothing comes out.
Captain Hollis now sneering. "Oh, what do you know? The pirate crew can't be trusted, even though you're all family on this.
All right. Captain pulls out the pistol and aims it at Hollis and says, "I've had one too many years of listening to you nag on and on. I don't think this is the moment for you to continue that with a pistol aimed at you."
Look around. You're surrounded by my
Has
troops
that ever
and Uriah's
stopped
guards.
me? I was surrounded in your little warship, was I not? Boom. All right.
How's your throat doing, Hollis?
I'm so terribly sorry, because what came to my head was something very inappropriate about your relationship with Uriah Flint. But I will...
Wrong NPC!
Instead of that, I will just have him glower, having been one-upped in the moment. For what it's worth, Hollis and Flint are both more than willing to let you all be upset with one another and work this out. As far as they're concerned, someone's going to turn someone in, and that will be make it all the easier for them when it comes time to wrap all this up.
I mean, to be fair, Hollis. Is it Hollins or Hollis with an N or not?
With I-S, Hollis.
That's all right. Let's be clear, Hollis. Biggest enemy for the Empire is probably the pirate captain over here.
Well, sorry, yeah, okay, sorry, I'm catching up. Perhaps when he was a pirate targeting imperial shipping, yes. But as a condition
and a pirate is to be trusted that he will not turn back to that, right? Because that's what we proved here right now.
Uriah is cut from a different cloth than the common traders.
So you think he'll keep his word to you? You think you're that special that he won't betray you after all of this is done?
I'm gonna put my hand on Cyrus's shoulder and just like shake my head. It's like, don't.
No, Kale. If you couldn't talk back then, you can't talk right now, and you can't stop me from doing this. You can explain afterwards. I want this. I think she'll lower her voice a bit and say, I want the crew to get out alive. That's all that matters.
Uriah chuckles. Oh, to be perfectly clear, your crew will get out alive. The deal's for you. In fact, Kale, Snargle, if you still want your cut, you can walk away. Let us deal with the three of them. Bigger share for the both of you.
The cut was the three of us. That's what we agreed, Flint.
And now the terms are changing. If you are willing to betray them for one sum, surely you're willing to betray them for that sum and some extra.
Trust doesn't work that way for some of us, Flint.
Trust hasn't worked that way for Mr. Arkham, apparently, for the duration of your journey.
You really are a piece of work, you know that? And I liked you. I don't know what that says about me, but I'll tell you what it says about you. Clearly. Oh no, you go ahead. What wisdom do you have for me?
I was going to, first of all, I'm talking to the storyteller. Calm down a second. I was going to say, what it says about Queen's Court Games is that we're contractually obligated to have at least one disaster gay in every single game that we play.
I believe you have like 4 or 5 now, so
yeah.
You can continue with your monologue there.
I don't know where I started. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
I liked you. I
don't know what that says about me, but
are you talking to Uriah or are you talking to Kale right now?
Uriah,
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think you've probably learned this a lot being a nobleman, is that one thing, the people who actually make this world move, the people with power and the gravitas to lead it, all of them take advantage of naive young hearts. I guess that's just one more way that you weren't actually special to me after all.
And what about me?
What about you? Is this where you get all tough and say if you want him, you have to go through me? Because then he reaches out and cracks his knuckles, does the head tilt to the side, and every single vertebra cracks. He goes, "Girlie, I'm ready for it."
Why did you lie to me?
But, so I told you the truth, that my plan was to betray your sworn charge and just hope that would go off well.
Why did you have to tell me that I was bringing him back to you in the name of love? We have done so many things together. Why couldn't you have just told me, I need him. I need a noble. Stealing a noble, who cares? That's a Tuesday.
It's a need-to-know basis, Naomi.
I needed to know.
You thought so? I didn't. But I can tell you the same thing I told Kale, the same thing I told Arkham. This fight's not with you. What do you owe him? From the same family that put you in the pits? And what, it takes a week after that to build loyalty?
At least he's been honest to me. I thought that was the one thing that I could trust you. Like, I have been with you for so long, and you couldn't trust me enough to tell me this.
It's the way it is on the skies, Naomi. But you have a choice to make now. You can choose to come back with your family, the ones who've always protected you, the ones who've let you be the kind of person you want to be. Or you can decide that a week with this soft noble and this pathetic captain and his crew full of traitors, you can decide that a week with them has changed your heart and get cut down with the rest of them. Hollis has a pardon with my name on it, which means you can walk too. That's your choice. You want to go free, or you want to go down?
I start pulling off my sleeves, like ripping them off, and I tear them into strips and start wrapping my hands up.
You know what I've never done, Naomi?
What's that, Cyrus?
Betrayed one of my crew.
Funny how that works.
Before we get into the nitty-gritty of this situation, I want to say I was given the offer to walk. Is that correct?
Who are you asking?
The Hollis. I think he was the one that mentioned it, that Snargle was free to go if...
It was Flint who mentioned it.
Oh, really? Okay.
I mean, they're operating together. It's fine. And Hollis can... Yes, the Empire is more than willing to overlook your many crimes of accessory, so long as that one, and he points a gauntleted finger at Cyrus Vance.
To the pistol that is still pointing at his face.
Yeah, it's a picture, because you have a gun and he points his finger. So long as that one ends up in our custody. And might I add, to appeal to your goblin nature, if, as it seems, Mr. Arkham intends to also throw his life away, the full reward for Cyrus's capture would go to you.
Oh, you know what? Keep the money. Sorry, Captain, I have to do this. I want to take the ship.
Are you asking permission from from Hollis, or okay?
I want to go in the ship. Please.
Are you trying to do a sneaky on this?
I am
man?
trying to do a sneaky.
Will you put together a do a sneaky dice pool? Okay. Because it seems if I were the captain, I would say, oh, the ship with the gun turret and you know the afterburners.
To be fair, I was very convinced there because it seems like genuinely the goblin was gonna be like, fuck this money and like walking around. Fuck yeah.
Thank you for for thinking I was actually betraying you. I appreciate that.
Not for a second, but then I knew like, okay, they'll probably have a plan or something.
There's just been a lot of betrayal this afternoon, so it just, we're all on alert.
I thought you picked that moment. That's like me saying I'm not gonna betray, like I don't betray my crew, and then you being like, well.
No, like I'm just wrapping my hands up. I'm getting ready. Let's do this. I don't like being lied to.
Well, let's see the results, because I think I do believe that Captain Hollis is, or if not him, then Ryan. Between the two of them, they are not dumb enough to let you go like to the unsecured ship with the armory on it and such. But if you can goblin your way Jesus Christ.
I rolled everything. Just to let you know, I rolled everything so I could use Secret of the Lucky Break and get all those dice back. But 8 successes. This needs to work.
You dumped your entire free pool into that roll.
I did, yes.
Mm-hmm. And then Secret of the Lucky Break says if you pass, you get them all back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a good play. So with 8 successes, maybe it's just your diminutive goblin nature. Like, what's the worst a goblin could do? Whatever. It's one less person to get in the way when the bullets start flying. Fine, take the ship, says Hollis.
Thanks. Yeah, again, sorry, Captain. Sorry, everyone
Get out
else.
of my sight, Snargle.
Yeah, okay, that's fair. That's fair. And I'm gonna head to the ship and start going through the motions of starting it up as though I'm going to take off. But I am waiting for the right moment.
Of course, we're waiting for the dramatically appropriate moment to redeem everyone's faith in you.
Hey, Kale.
And doesn't look at you, but just sort of turns his head halfway in your direction.
Was it worth it?
You see sliding out of Kale's sleeve the knife that he took from the palace. He's very still. Not moving, he's barely breathing. I have 2 keys right now, and I'm going to sever one of them.
Okay.
One of the keys is key of the mission. You must safely deliver Lord Blackbird to the Pirate King, Uriah Flint. Sever it by giving up the mission. The other is key of fraternity. You are sworn to Captain Vance in a bond of brotherhood. Buy it off by severing the relationship. Seeing Snargle go for the ship. Hollis with the gun and the knife kind of in the hand. I look to Cyrus. Not without her. And I throw it into Uriah Flint's chest.
The knife.
The knife.
I thought you were throwing it to me for a second. I was like,
I know.
No, I throw it into Uriah Flint's chest.
All right. Well,
And I'm burning the key of the mission.
Let's
I'm
go.
gaining 2 advancements for it.
Well, a whole lot is going to happen all at once, because I am guessing that when the knife gets flung, that's like the go signal for Naomi and for Cyrus and for everybody. So the knife goes sailing off. I don't have... There's no, like, defensive rolls for NPCs.
No,
like,
but I
you all
have to roll for it, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So let me put a pull together real quick.
As that is happening, Cyrus, I'll tell everyone that the guards and the Imperials are fanning out. There is no way out of this situation. You're out of places to run. You don't have a ship anymore, right? Like, you're not getting out. As Kale flings the knife, Hollis pulls his visor down and starts walking just directly at you, pulling the saber out from his sheath. Naomi, you've locked eyes with Uriah, and he's been looking forward to this for a long fucking time. I don't know how to communicate with my face what that would look like, but the eyes that say I'm about to beat some submission into this bitch is kind of the face he's making at you. Not okay. So that, but different vibe. It is impossible with you. First the docking thing, and then the jurgling thing, and now this. Like, you all being you really limits my storyteller vocabulary.
Listen, we aren't cowards when it comes to when we juggle and when we don't, frankly.
True.
I'm going to say a shout out, thank you to Conrad for that well-timed bonk. And then we'll wait and see what Snargle does. Nathaniel, you have one advantage here, in that they will probably not kill you. So what are you going to do as all this pops off?
How many other soldiers are there around us right now?
Between the soldiers and the pirates, there are dozens of mooks and side characters.
Cool. Okay. I'm gonna see what I can do about that.
All right, Kale, do you have a report for us?
I do. I look to Cyrus, not without her, and it's a quick, practiced movement and with 7 successes, it buries itself in there.
Yes, into the chest. It would be dramatically, terribly unsatisfying if you were just able to kill him, just
No,
like that.
But I want to, like, he's a big guy, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. This isn't gonna kill him. I know that it's a small knife. It's something that I took because it was small and I could conceal it. And I'm not aiming to kill him. However, like, that's not my place. I fucked up. I betrayed my captain. Even if I'm going back on it now, I can't lose that. Taking his life isn't my place. I want to fucking hurt him. So I'm aiming to bury it kind of here, just in his collarbone, where I know it's not gonna kill him, but it's every time now, even if he pulls it out, if he moves his head, it's going to fucking hurt. And it just sinks itself in there.
If you'll pardon the phrase, you just want to make a point?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Yes. So the dagger impales, and this is just the man who's built of muscle and rage and adrenaline. So it roars in, it buries itself in, and you see him kind of stagger back, and he's just like, "You insolent little," and he's ripping it out and throwing it to the side. He's like, "Her first, then you." And now the grand melee begins. We're gonna say that at least in the case of Naomi and Uriah, you are aiming at like people locked in melee. This is like when stags fight to see who gets to be the biggest deer. Like, that's the kind of energy we're talking about being wrapped up there. So you're shooting it into that fight is a 50-50 shot which one of them you hit. So be very, very careful. The pirate guards come charging out, several of them straight towards Kale at this point. The soldiers know they have to subdue Nathaniel, but as we said, Captain Hollis is going to take down Cyrus Vance if it's the only thing he does with the rest of his life. So we know that the knife has flown out. We know that Naomi is charging forward as Uriah charges forward. It's very Dragon Ball Z, I guess. Captain Vance, what's your move?
I think there's also the cinematic move where Captain Hollis like puts down the visor and starts charging, and Captain Vance uses the distance left to her advantage to still try to get in some shots, but the sword at the ready to immediately switch to melee when they come in close combat enough.
Okie dokie, make your gunfire roll for me.
Yes.
Naomi, I would hope that you are putting together a violence pool of your own, right? Okay, good.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. What you got, Nathaniel?
Just before Cyrus charges forward into the fray, Nathaniel sort of grabs the side of her face and just says, It's you. It's always been you. And he kisses her before turning back to the rest of the goons.
Yo, can I use this as the moment to buy off my key of hidden longing for making it public?
Tell me how you make it public.
Because I fully kiss him back at that moment. Thank you, Aaron.
Are we back to doing the do I need to like do the dip again, right? Just
The dip again.
I mean, not really the dip, more like the turn to still shoot Hollis.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's beautiful. Yes. Oh, I love that.
Outstanding.
Nathaniel Blackbird gets just like a little bit of corner of mouth, and like it's there, but it's only because Captain is squinting, so she can also pull the trigger. That is wonderful. Amazing. I love everything about it. Naomi, are you prepared for your role?
I am, absolutely. So, I got 10 successes.
How many of your own pool dice did you put in there?
2.
I don't. Do you have 13 tags?
Yep, absolutely I do.
Which tags did you use?
Pit fighter, combat tested, brutal, living weapon, fast, hard, strong. Bodyguard, awareness, threats, defend.
Okay, wait. You're using defend on your attack roll, just to be clear.
Yes, because I am defending Nathaniel.
It's not going to change the results. I just wanted to know, like, because with 10 successes, it doesn't matter how many like end up being pulled away. I just wanted to make sure that there's some kitchen sinking happening there, and I was going to wave my naughty finger at you.
Well, okay, fine. If you want the last two, it was one from ex-slave and one from run, because I am running at full speed.
I see what you've done. Like I said, it doesn't change the result because you got so many successes. But I was like, I don't think you have 15 tags total. Tell me how you got that.
Oh no,
many
I have a lot more tags. I have a ton of tags.
Regardless, 10 successes does allow you to. Actually, you tell me. So he's coming charging at you, and maybe this is just masculine hubris that he is charging forward, and you can tell he is just gonna, when he gets into range, he's got his shoulder forward, and you know that his move is just right haymaker, gonna clobber you like towards like the back here part and get you on the ground. So what happens instead?
Here's the thing. I've worked with Uriah long enough to know his moves. I have studied them. As a pit fighter, I'm very, very good at studying people and how they like to fight, so I know all of his moves. I use this to my advantage. I also know I'm faster than he is. Like, he's big, I'm big, I have sledgehammer fists, but I'm also faster. So I use this to my advantage, and as he comes up and his arm is pulled back, I duck under and then swing straight up from above right into his abdomen. And I'm doing like a full-on uppercut, just square in the middle.
It spares you the embarrassment of getting clobbered by a move that you know exists. But punching up into his stomach is like punching up into like a bag of concrete. Like, it's just muscle and sheath, and you can feel the diaphragm contract, and you can feel like washing over you the like making this like piratey, fiery breath on you, and like it was a good hurt, but not enough to take him down. And so as you get that first one in, he has that reaction, he chuckles a little bit, and he goes, "Oh, this is gonna be great." And then the momentum is spinning and turning as the fists are flying. It's not even boxing at this point. He's trying to like get that leverage, like squat down. He wants to take this into like some MMA style, like floor fighting, some good old fashioned pit fighting.
Which is fine. My legs are stronger than his legs. Let's go.
There's a sport, I think it is the Inuit, where they do the leg wrestling.
I was just going with horse riding thighs, but okay.
Maybe.
You're right. I just can't remember what it's called.
Yeah, I'm imagining what a wonderful thing at the end of it. It's the last climactic thing is the two of you locked into an indigenous American leg wrestle, and that's the fight. Please don't do that. That's going to be very difficult to narrate. In the meantime, though, I know Cyrus Vance has pulled the trigger, is being flustered by a much wanted lip lock, affecting your aim.
It's affecting my aim in a very positive way, thank you. Because not only am I able to shoot Captain Hollis still, I have this new like rush pumping through me that just like one word in my head, that's protect. And I have 7 successes, so I shoot Hollis really good in the knees if I can.
Okay, yeah. The armor is thick enough to defend against a fully penetrating shot, but the advantage there will not be an injury in that way, but the joint in the armor needs to flex for him to be able to fully move.
Ooh.
So
Can I suggest that maybe with the armor done as well, that the bullets ricochet off to like some of the nearby soldiers? I mean, with 7 successes.
Oh, well, yeah. The shot you're looking for would be like a 5, so you have 2 extra. But yeah, I mean, we're talking like Hollywood movie, right? There's a little bit of Indiana Jones feel to it. So you shoot him, and he's like, "Ha! I'm still fine." And then like behind, over the shoulder of the camera, can see the other soldier just get like up through the this part of the armor and just like just back. But at this point, he has closed into full melee range with you, and I'm making eye contact with Gabe, so I'm going to say this, and I'm going to watch your face and judge you. as Cyrus and the captain lock swords. Now, Kale, you have thrown away your weapon, and there are pirate guards moving in to tussle.
Yep. What
is your plan?
How many are running at me right now?
Well, this being a movie, the correct thing would be for them to all just pile onto you at once, right?
Yeah.
But that's not what we're gonna do. It's like Batman rules, where one or two of them are coming in, like it's my turn, and then you can show up. You wait back there.
No, let me stop you there. I think I want them to do that. I want them all to jump me, because Kale is a sneaky, bendy, flexible, can get out of kind of situations kind of lad. And so what he's gonna do is he's gonna wait until a bunch of these pirates are on him, dogpiled him, and then is going to slip out, dexterous and snake-like, from the pile while taking one of their swords out of their sheaths as he does so.
That's amazing. Build that pool for me.
I will do that.
We'll come back to the results of that as soon as I know what Snargle is doing.
Oh, see, I'm currently finishing the takeoff protocols. If anyone looks in, any Imperial soldier looks into the pilot seat, I have this very sullen look on my face, like I just did it bad. I just betrayed all of my friends. The ship slowly begins to lift higher and higher, kind of hovering above the platform. It's a tight parking spot, so I'm having a little trouble getting out, and it looks like I'm orienting myself. And that's when I get this maniacal grin on my face, and I punch the button that opens up the shop. But this is the deluxe shop button. So the silly string comes out, the banners go flying, there's fireworks now, and just the sign that says the Owl Shop, and just loud cacophony of noise as I put our song into the machine and loudly blare, "So no one told you it was gonna be this way." And that's when I start to kind of like, with all of this noise, I've aimed it away from my comrades, and I would like to start just kind of like twisting the ship into the Imperial troops to knock them off the platform. Just kind of the slow, menacing crawl of the owl.
That is a very ballsy but very dangerous maneuver. So get your pool together, but if something goes wrong, God only knows what could happen. Kale, I see you have made your roll. How's it going over there, bud?
It's going pretty damn well, with 5 successes. And as these pirates, like, pile on top of Kale for, throwing a knife into their captain, trying to get to him, it's for a while you don't see him. It's kind of disconcerting. And then he just kind of slips out, almost standing up, his feet coming first, and then standing up in a back bend, incredibly flexibly, just flicking a saber round his hand that he's yoinked out of the back sheath of one of the pirates that has piled on. He's got a lot less pizzazz than he normally would. It's a lot less showboaty than he regularly would, but there's a touch of it there. There's a little touch of it back.
5 successes is plenty. This is a difficult maneuver, but 5 is your target. And I see that Snargle is now also ready to report the results of her mischief.
Okay, so I only got 6 successes, but I rolled 15 dice. Still really impressive. How does that do for me?
So difficulty scale would be 3 is for something normal, and then it goes up from there. 6 is the hardest anything can get. And I would say that this is pretty difficult, because you are talking about having, you're a goblin pilot. So in the human body, we talk about like proprioception, I think is how you pronounce the word. We're like knowing where your limbs are despite not being able to see them. And you have that feeling about the ship. So even from you can tell where it is. And that is just all those years of just cruising along with your baby, hands on the wheels, is what allows you to, turn it, and then the aileron you lift as it passes over where Naomi is fighting, so that she doesn't get bonked, and then it comes back down, and there's gunfire slamming into it from people trying to shoot in her direction. And as you make that full spin around, and there's now confetti being kicked up and dust everywhere from the thrusters, even in the low mode, you're still getting some of that. You managed to get a few of the pirates who were going to be going after Kale soon enough. Just the bonk of it, you'll see you floor that left rudder, and now you've spun it fast enough at that point because you're clear of Naomi to send them stumbling backwards, falling off the edge. Which is good for you. It's better for Naomi, who didn't get crushed. But this is an excellent time as any to go back to Naomi, because now you're fighting and you see this thing coming at you. You don't actually, I mean, the song probably did give it away that you haven't been betrayed, right?
I would say so. Yeah, it's it was a little weird when all of us just kind of like clapped. Like we were all very, very busy, but why did all of us just stop and clap? I don't know, but it felt oddly calming. Yeah.
So now that you have this so there's this little piece of time where you see this thing coming. Uriah doesn't. He's locked in on you. What incredible fighty, muscly maneuver are you going to make to take advantage of this situation?
So what I would like to do is, seeing this coming, the first thing I need to do is get him to fall, like to lose his footing. So I want to like slide in and like kick his feet out from under him, and then when he falls, I would like to lift him up and try and like throw him into the path of this.
That's an awful lot to accomplish all at once.
Yes.
I mean, you can put a pool together, but you're describing a couple different combat maneuvers. So if you want that all to go off, it's going to be significantly difficult. I guess we'll see how you manage. Now, Nathaniel, we've been hanging out a little while here, and I mean, aside from the emotional pain, you're the only one here that no one wants to hurt. Are you taking advantage of that?
Yeah. I am going to cause some more mess.
A love triangle wasn't enough for you? There's more mess you want?
Well, is it really a love triangle? I think it's more just like a love right angle, you know? Like it's...
Oh, yeah, no, you're
one
right.
of them has no real...
A triangle has to be...
Exactly. It has to be mutual. There's no... Yeah, whatever. It's like a whole thing. Anyway, Uriah... Man... You know that line about red flags earlier? Wow, that's coming back to bite me now. Okay, yeah, so speaking of red flags, seeing the lovely Kale wiggle his way out of the dog pile that has tried to amass around him, I am going to spare a moment to help him out a little bit, because whilst, yeah, sure, he did this whole betrayal thing, we still don't know his reasons. And I frankly would really like to hear them. And if he dies, he can't tell me. And that would be really annoying. So I, with 6 successes, would very much like, if possible, to use the burn of the engines that Snargle has just kicked into gear to draw some of the fire out from them and essentially just send a massive fireball at that dog pile of people and just blow them to Kingdom Come.
It's got to be a horrifying experience for them, right?
Yeah, I'm going to cause a barbecue.
There's that, but I mean, let's think about the fireworks, right? The people on the outside, definitely not going to make it out, but there's got to be someone on the bottom who is insulated enough from the flames to like be uncomfortable, but also unable to escape the weight of their cooked friends. And that person, if they survive, is going to need years of sky therapy to get over this trauma. But yes, once you know that Kale is free and clear, and you set alight the pirate thugs, the crackling of skin and screaming probably won't bother you too much because you are a lord on a mission.
Absolutely. And as I do this, I sort of make I catch Kale's eye. I just give him a nod and then turn back to the soldiers.
I mean, and if nothing else, Kale had the chance to walk, right? And the fact that Kale didn't walk, can you like, oh my god, double Uno reverse betrayal, right?
Exactly.
Betraying
I mean,
everybody out here.
Let's be real here. Betrayal is literally an elective at the academy. If I'm angry at somebody for like the mini betrayal in this betrayal pancake, then frankly I'm like you said, never getting out of sky therapy. So we may as well just.
I know that Naomi has a result, and I want to hear about it just in a moment. But Cyrus Vance, former imperial soldier, you trained in the same dueling arts as Captain Hollis. The two of you are both excellent at your craft. What's going on?
The only
there?
difference between us is I had a few years now to learn to fight dirty.
Yeah.
So describe this fight for me. Describe the clash of blades and the trading of insults and the...
So I think they're in close combat right now, but that doesn't stop Cyrus from using the gun every so often, be it like the back of it to smash, or be it like actually trying to shoot so that he has to move his foot away. So they're constantly spinning in this like clashing of blades, pushing of shoulders, swiping of feet, and as they do that, Cyrus every once so often says things like, you know, you never were quite good at your job, you know, should have been paying more attention before you let me run off. Maybe next time you can give me another ship to blow up. Be sure to happy to take the opportunity, and stuff like that. Maybe then you can actually protect people, you know?
The rage is mounting, and you know, you've seen it a million times in movies where there's sword fights and the blades lock and they're together, but you have that happening with one hand. On the other, there's the pistol, and you're pushing it back and forth, and then as is always the case, like, you know, you got him, and then it gets pushed to the side, and you end up like shoulder to shoulder facing one another. And that's when you're like, and by the way, your wife says you have a small dick, before kicking back off and trying to get into something, and then gunfire flying out rapidly, the screech of steel as you fight. Did you put together your violence pool?
I'll put together my violence pool.
Wonderful. Meanwhile, over in Naomiville, so you were having the same conversation. I had a thought to make Uriah be a bit gross, but I don't want to do that unless you're comfortable with it.
Sure.
Okay, so for those of you at home, when we talk about enthusiastic consent, that's not what we're talking about.
My mind is like, I have no honest idea what you're talking about.
Can you clarify what kind of gross you mean,
just
Aaron?
being lecherous, being a gross masculine man.
Being a creep.
Whatever. Yeah, do it.
Right. So you're wrestling around together, and you're this strong, and he's like, it's a shame that you had to decide to get involved with Blackbird, because now that I see what you're like on the ground, I think we could have had a lot more fun together. I'm imagining that's in canon, that he does that, and you're just like turning your head, and he starts chuckling. You've made your roll. What is the result?
I got 6 successes. I added 2 from my dice pool.
I think we are in one small pickle, because 6 would be enough to accomplish one very difficult thing, but you have asked for 2, so I will give you the option. Do you want to only accomplish the 1, or do you want to accomplish 2, but?
Ooh, what's the but?
I will tell you once you've decided you want that option.
I mean, it's cinematic, right? We gotta do the 2 but.
Nathaniel calls it as well. I just watched that joke sail right past Gabe, just whoosh into the atmosphere, sailing. Okay, so refreshing my memory, you were going to wrestle down on the ground, and then you want to throw him up into the ship, yeah?
Yes, I wanted to knock him off of his feet, so like kind of like slide into his ankle, knock him down, and then just, you know, like when you were kids and you would like do that thing with your siblings where you like hold on to their hands and then you spin around in a circle, and then they're just like, this is so much fun, because like you were did nobody else ever do that? Is this just like a thing that I have experienced?
I did.
Okay, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Because I'm like, please, somebody else has to have experienced this. This cannot just be a thing that I did. But yes, I would essentially do that. So I would knock him on the ground, and while he's like, ugh, I would pick up his ankles and then spin him around and then yeet him into the sky.
Okay, well, I will give you everything up to yeet him into.
Okay.
But I'm going to scribble out the sky
Mm-hmm.
and then write back in the ship.
Sure.
And the weight of something that large, referring to Uriah, not the ship, colliding with the tail of the owl means that Snargle's maneuver to knock some people around is now thrown slightly off kilter. I would like... Kale, can you muster up some kind of dexterous dodgy bit before you end up the victim of the I guess the owl's wing? I was trying to make an animal anatomy joke there. It didn't come together.
Yeah, absolutely I can. Kind of seeing this, like hearing this impact and seeing the owl start to lurch, having just kind of pulled myself out of this pile, I'm gonna like very acrobatically kind of flip and slide out of the way, and if I can, if there are any of the pirates that manage to somehow dig their way out of the burning pile that Nathaniel left, like hook my ankle round theirs and drag them to where I was standing, I will do that as well. But yeah, I'll put that pile together.
Let's see if that works. And then Snargle, if you would like to make another piloting check for me, because you need to get the owl under control before something real bad happens.
Sure.
You just had like 230 pounds of thick muscle man smash into your left tail rudder.
Thrown by thick muscle woman.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressive.
I mean, a lot. I mean, God, like that amount of thick and muscle in one spot is illegal in most countries. You have to register that when you come in through customs.
It's at least 5 C's on the thick. THICC. It's a lot of thick.
I'm imagining like now you have a concealed carry license for your thick, and it just the class of the license instead of like ABC, it's just the number of C's. So like, oh, you've got a 5C license? Like, wow, that you had to go in for like actual training and like register. Yeah.
My thighs are registered as a weapon. Yes. Thank you.
Fists first, and then that's the first C. Yes. Fists, and then on from there.
1 C for each fist.
What is the story there, Snargle?
Outlook is good. I rolled 7 successes on this. You know, it's so nice that I have so many perks when it comes to flying or traits.
It's a good game for saying do what you're good at all the time.
Yes.
The thing about Lord Blackbird that makes it nice is everyone's skill set points in a direction where like the player's impulse is to get the most dice as possible, which forces them to act like their characters would. And the keys and the secrets also play off that. Kale, you were doing a little dodgeroony.
Yes.
How did that pan out?
Well, I only rolled 3 successes, which I assume is not a success in this particular thing.
No,
But I have a thing called Secret of Reflexes, which I have not used yet, and it's once per session you can re-roll a failure when doing anything involving grace, dexterity, or quick reflexes.
Now would be a wonderful time. Because...
I'm gonna do that. I'm assuming I can't add any dice to the pool. I just have to roll the same pool again, right? Okay.
Yeah, because I would hate to see you end up clinging to the front of the owl because you got swept aside and now you're hanging on to one of the one of the pieces of the shop.
Yeah,
that's right. The banner's out.
I think that's actually what happened.
I'm not doing good. Yeah, I'm not doing too good on that, bud.
Oh no! Well, 2 successes. That is slightly worse, but that is the case. The fact that you got do you have to take the new result? Does it?
I don't. Say? It doesn't say. It just says you can re-roll a failure.
That would be incredibly cruel. And ultimately, it won't matter a ton because the point that we want, the very important point, is that you have not been knocked off of the goblin town to spend the rest of eternity falling through an infinite sky. No, you are not able to maintain your position on the platform, but now you are clinging on to one of like the shop banners or one of them the poles that has a flag on it or something like that. You will have to maintain that grip until the owl maneuvers one direction or another to put you back on. You could also try to get into the ship, of course, or something like that.
Got it. Good to know.
Nathaniel, do you still feel good about burning 6 or 7 soldiers, innocent soldiers? They were just, here doing a job, burning them alive?
Yeah, pretty good about it. Yeah, I'm not examining that. We'll deal with sky therapy later. The bill is going to be insane.
Well, if anyone can afford it.
I see what you did there. I see what you did there. That was good.
Funny.
It was a good one.
Thank you.
It's a good joke. It was a great joke, even. But I'm gonna need you to stop anyway. Okay. Yeah. So we've dealt with a fair few of the sailors who are now looking a little char-grilled. What are the imperial soldiers? I'm assuming are still angling for my face a little bit.
Yeah, the flame was nice for dealing with that one set of problems. It also meant that the ones who were not in the direction of the flame blast had a chance to close. Now they're not going. They might hurt you, but they're not going to kill you, right?
Yeah.
Like if an elbow becomes dislocated as part of the process, whatever, that's fine. I'm gonna go off on a limb and assume that you're not much of a fist fighter, huh?
No, absolutely not. So what I'm gonna do instead, is I am going to, because this is one of Kale's coats, on a leap of faith, I'm gonna assume that there's a knife in there somewhere, and just go, pat, pat, pat. Oh. And then
so here's the thing. Can I be cheeky about a thing here,
Aaron?
Sure. So I have a thing called Secret of Concealment. No matter how thoroughly you're searched, you always have a few key items with you. You can produce any common simple item at a moment's notice. Can I extend that to the coat that Nathaniel is currently wearing?
Well, of course, yeah.
Fuck yes.
Yeah. So, well, this means though, I'm not going to let Nathaniel pick what comes out of the pocket. Kale gets to pick what Nathaniel finds in the pocket.
Okay. You don't pull out a knife. You pull out a handful of shurikens. They do not look like they've come from anywhere near here. You have no idea how he came by them. They look far too expensive for him to have acquired them legally.
You've seen them before, Nathanial?
No, I don't even know what I do with these. Do I eat my dinner with them? What's happening here? They're like tiny little serrated. What is the point? Do you play checkers with these, Arkham? Yeah, he
just hanging off the ship. It's like,
as Vance passes by, like swinging with Hollis, she's like, throw them.
Oh my God,
you throw them.
Amazing. I think. Let's put a. Okay. Yeah. Sure. This is fine. Cool.
Okay, you center on that for a minute. Yeah. I will head over to Cyrus Vance.
Great.
Do you have any new one-liners for us as you are as you're engaged in this melee to the death?
Fuck, I did. Damn it, did I lose it? I got 5 successes for the melee dueling. God damn it, I had a line for him.
Well, that is okay. I think it's going to take some of the edge off of it because Hollis is a master sword fighter. This is like 5 and 6 successes required to accomplish what you're doing. Hey, kitty tail, yeah. Is required to succeed. So this close, and now that the pistols maybe more your strong suit. The sword definitely more maybe his strong suit. Did you just hear her jump into the fucking...
Yep, sure did. That was what my face was, because I was very confused.
There's a brown shopping bag that I have near the desk, and she jumped off the desk into the bag, like head first into the bag.
That is the best cat thing ever.
Yeah, I don't know if she meant to do that or thought there was something inside of it, but she's out of the bag now. So on 5 successes, that is not enough as this gets more difficult, more complicated. Because I have a little chart down in front of me that gives each of the enemies, Uriah and Captain Hollis, a certain number of hit points. And every time you do damage to them, you get closer, yes, to winning, but the difficulty for inflicting hits goes up. So, in this exchange of blades, you have a sword and a pistol. He has a sword and a punching dagger. So you are wrestling around. He lets go of trying to struggle with the pistol, and you're swinging it back around, trying to get to a good shooting angle as you're still crossing or smashing blades back and forth. You come in close again to whisper the one-liner, and that's why you don't remember it, because it's hard to remember something when you get stabbed. Cyrus, my friend, you are injured. You will mark that on your sheet. Now, that doesn't mean mechanically, I don't actually think that comes with any official effects. But you can say, well, there's nothing like rules in written, this must happen. But in this case, being injured in this context, actions that you take that would involve like not being injured to be successful, will say you take a 1 dice penalty. So like giving orders, not a problem, but continuing to sword fight, yes, that would be a problem. Hey, Kitty, you didn't find what you wanted up there, buddy. Anyway, Snargle, 2 things have happened that have changed the way the owl is handling. One is Naomi threw a fucking brick shit house of a man into it. And 2, Kale is hanging, let's call it like 80 kilos of person and stolen goods off of the side of the ship.
Most of the weight is crime.
Yeah. We know that Kale is 70% crime by volume. So...
The goblin in me, in Zoe, wants to take all of this and use it to my advantage. So Flint hits the tail. I start spinning. Kale gets clinging onto me. That kind of gives it more force, and I continue this spin like a top across the docks, just kind of running into people, Imperials specifically. I'm trying to avoid my crewmates, but as a perfect music moment, the song goes to it's like you're always stuck in second gear as I'm spinning about.
And then what are you going to do?
I'm still kind of just clearing the troops that are in the way of my friends. I want to try and like make it so we can escape from here. So obviously once I'm done with this maneuver, I'm going to have to pull out and like lower the bridge so people can get on. But right now I'm just kind of clearing the path.
Okay. And we'll put that pool together for me. Naomi, you are in a good place because your duel with Uriah has been going quite well. But as the struggling has continued to go, you're now back up on your feet and then getting knocked down again, scrambling around. I mean, it's kind of everything you want in fist fight, right? Like, if nothing else, this is fulfilling a bucket list item, right?
It really is. Yeah.
So here's the sitch. Getting Uriah, like this, whatever last move you do that takes him out of the fight is going to be super, super, super hard. And you also have to consider that Nathaniel Blackbird may want to have that, or at the very least get a word in edgewise before the end happens. Now the choice is yours because you can decide what kind of drama you want to bring to the table, but I have communicated the 2 important pieces. One, that he is at the point where you're going to need a significant number of successes to end it, and then 2, signaling to Nathaniel, if you want to write a breakup letter real quick, you're running out of time.
Okay. So, as we've been going back and forth and dodging and ducking and diving and wrestling and doing all these things, I've actually been working my way to position myself between, or rather to position him between me and a stall just behind him. It's still relatively intact, but my goal it would be to punch him and send him flying backwards like into the stall, so that everything on top of the stall, because that's where all the storage, all of the extra merch and stuff is stored, all of that will come crashing down and land on him, and kind of give Lord Blackbird a moment to kind of come over and say his last goodbyes, as it were.
For sure. His long goodbye, or his hard goodbye.
His hard goodbye.
Okie dokie. Get that violence pool ready. Nathaniel, important question for you. What the fuck are you doing with the shuriken?
Yeah, that is a great question. So the shurikens, well, they're like a really great little fluff piece in this moment, because with the heat still swirling around his hands from the fireball earlier, they're beginning to sort of glow and heat up a little bit, and they're becoming that lovely white hot tinged with red of metal that's almost reaching the point of melting. And I sort of throw them up in the air around me and look at the rest of the soldiers and go, "Are you sure? Because if you're sure, what do you want your families to be told?"
Ooh, doing a little bit of intimidation then.
Yeah.
All right. Well, put that lordly leadership DNA to good work. Naomi, you made a face a minute ago. Does that mean the roll is done?
It does. Yes, it's not as good as I'd like. I used my last 2 dice in my pool, rolled 11, and only managed 4 successes, which is sad.
Well, let us do this as is dramatically appropriate, because we are going to run out of time before we run out of Imperials to cause a problem with, and I will actually set this up dramatically wonderfully for Nathaniel, because 4 successes is not enough to accomplish the maneuver, which means as you are setting up for the throw, you actually end up in a position where Uriah has the upper hand, to say nothing of the upper forearm and the upper bicep, because he yells out, "Little bird," and when you turn, you see him positioned with his arm locked around Naomi's neck and the leverage he needs, and he says, "How about you stop fucking around before I throw your bestie here into the great beyond?" Now, I say that because as you are simmering this white hot metal, and we know that there's fire and wind around, I expect you might arrive at a decision to
Little bit.
use. Yeah.
Yeah. As this sort of happens, I look over at Uriah and see Naomi in his grip. And there's a moment when my face sort of falls a little bit. And I look at her and I just see what we've been together over the past few weeks and the friendship we've managed to form, despite everything and everything that my family has put her through, and the fact that she's still fighting for me even now. And this waste of air thinks he's entitled to a singular drop of her blood is abhorrent. The shurikens kind of drop, and there's a moment where it looks like I'm giving in, or there's supplication there, but Uriah's sword is on the ground in front of him, and it shakes and sort of begins to rattle on the floor, that same white hot burning intensity sort of causing it to shimmer like a mirage on a hot day, and it just and sears upwards and pierces itself into Uriah's form right below the ribcage.
And what is the result of your roll?
4 successes.
Can I assist her for maybe a last time with my secret of leadership?
Sure.
Because if I give them advice here, because an order wouldn't be like good in this context, but if I give them advice, then they get a chance to re-roll a failed roll. And I don't know if 4 is a failed roll or not.
Yeah, 4 is not going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Also worth noting that if anyone can think of a way to assist Lord Blackbird in this moment, they can give one of their pool dice. So.
I can. In that, Kale, as a petty sorcerer, is going to use a form of magic that he has not used before, because at his heart, he's quite thoroughly selfish and has never really thought to kind of use his magic for another person before. But kind of seeing what Nathaniel is doing and what he's trying to do, he is going to let go of the owl with one hand, trusting the grip of the other one. And I'm going to channel my magic into Nathaniel. All of it.
Okay.
I am willing to, in this moment, I don't quite know if this is how the system works, but effectively every bit of magic in Kale, he is giving up and giving to Nathaniel.
I mean, it's not written down how it works, but that sounds beautifully poignant to me. So let's say this. Kale, how many magic-related tags do you have? I think it's 2 or 3, right?
Oh, what, me? Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Magic. I have more than that. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 5.
Okay. So then, every last bit of magic, I will say that Kale, take the condition exhausted as you empty out your magical essence, channeling it through the whatever weave of magic exists here, going into Nathaniel, and then Nathaniel, add the 5 dice to the pool that you will
Take
get.
it, my boy. Take all my magic.
As Captain Vance. And you know what? It's got to be in Vice in this moment, because she wouldn't give you an order. And it's gonna be like she's biting her lip now, fucking thinking about it. So take it away.
No. I think in the brief moment of her grief from the duel, having the dagger like stabbed into them, they stagger back a bit and see that Nathaniel is going to go head on with Uriah. She staggers a bit towards them, like hand on the dagger, and says, "In from the heart, it's where they hurt you." And then, like, there's no more time until she has to duck away from, like, Hollis again.
Freaking awesome. Okay, so I am going to be pouring all the remaining 4 dice in my pool into this. So that's 10 from the original roll, 4 from my pool, and 5 from Kale. So that's 19.
Come on. Come on.
I mean, if you fail at this point, I just give up.
That's 10 successes, and I think as Cyrus says, aim for the heart. It's where he hurt you, and I feel this surge of magical energy from Kale, and I can almost sense that it's him, and I almost feel that he's standing behind me with his hands on my shoulders, and there's just this form of his magic stood there, daggers in hand, as he just says, "Get it where it hurts." And I step forward with all of this power welling within me, grasp a hold of the white hot hilt of this sword, and plunge it in deeper and deeper into Cyrus's into
another betrayal.
Twist!
Another betrayal. So many betrayals today. So many pirates. What can we do with them all? Into Uriah's chest, until I almost envision his heart as this white, hot, glowing orb in the center of his body, and it pierces and begins to gush black ooze through the wound. And I bring him in close over Naomi's shoulder and just say, "You never meant as much as you thought you did. And I hope that hurts for you."
I would love to tell you the last thing that Uriah says, but I don't know that you speak blood burbling up through the vocal cords as a second language. But suffice it to say, the eyes tell enough of a story of hubris that never once imagined it had happened like this. And even as he's dying, the disbelief will remain. The last conscious thought that the Pirate King has being, how did this small, weak, soft man bring me down? Now that is time enough for Nathaniel and Naomi to celebrate, but Cyrus, you find yourself still locked in this duel. Now Captain Hollis is not an idiot. He has seen how the tide is turning and is preparing to call his guards into a fighting retreat. You know that if he makes it back to his ship, you're just going to continue being hounded. If you have one chance to put Hollis down before the crew skitters off to the owl and escapes into the skies, what do you do?
It's certainly not my best thing to do, but I don't think Vance necessarily wants to kill them at the moment. So I think they'll, as they see Hollis doubt and think about going back, she'll look at him and say, you know, you could do something better with your life. You could leave the Empire just as I did and find a better purpose instead of being a number amongst many.
You wouldn't become pirate scum like you.
I'm not a pirate. Never have been. You know what I do? Make my own stories instead of following the order of some high up you've never met. You want to die like that? And she'll look pointedly at the burning heap of flesh. You want to die like one of the many numbers without having anything accomplished by yourself? Or you want to actually live out there in the sky? There's probably so much you haven't even seen yet, but you can't see it because of the blinders the Empire puts on you.
I mean, I know your background with the Empire. I know why you left. Does Hollis?
I actually don't think they probably know, so this would be the first time they actually heard Cyrus talk about it.
And it's that personal revelation, I guess, that changes the moment, that the rest of that amount, because obviously the tactical situation has deteriorated, as they say in the business, and Cyrus isn't willing to die, not for this, right? Or sorry, not Cyrus. Hollis is not willing to die, not for this. At the very least, he can retreat, live to fight another day. But the resolution here would be, you can either be dogged by this man forever, or he can turn his back on the Empire as you did. I don't think we're going to get the answer to that question right this moment, because as we arrive towards the end of our session, and nay, the series, the final set of maneuvers would be Cyrus calling off his Imperials, them retreating.
Hollis?
Yeah, Hollis.
You keep mixing the two up.
No, I've said it, I've memorized it wrong, and now it's going to keep happening.
You've just got Cyrus on the brain, yo.
I'm not the only one, am I?
Don't we all?
Nope.
So, Hollis ordering his men to retreat because it is the correct tactical decision. And are you going to be hounded? I don't know. But there is that one last moment as they have their guns out and they're backing away from you as the Friends theme song continues to blare, where he catches your eye. And there's no facial expression that goes with it. There's no last parting set of words. There's only that gut feeling, the kind of gut feeling that a freelance sky captain would get. That's something that you've said may have landed.
I think for a last thing, Cyrus would call out, he would let them walk away and would call out, you know what they say, Hollis? Third time's a charm. Don't let there be a third time that I see you. because that will mean that you've actually taken your own path.
Setting it up for a sequel. But yes, eventually Snargle will bring the ship under control, and now that the gunfire has died down, the screaming has died down. I mean, most of the screaming, there is still screaming. That pile of bodies is pretty big, Nathaniel. Goblin firefighters now coming up to put out the different piles of stuff. The ship's cargo thing drops down, and Snargle through the intercom is yelling,
Get on the owl, nerds! We're flying out!
Kale like lets go of the like bit of sign that he's been hanging onto and just sort of slides down the side of the ship and like collapses to the floor.
I just throw my arms around Naomi and just give her a big old hug.
I returned the hug. I'm a little taken aback by it, but I kind of like, one of my arms is a little sore, so I pat his back with the other one. I'm glad you're safe.
You too. What a dick.
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Not your fault.
Cyrus, your man's crying.
Yeah, I think, to be honest, I think Cyrus, like, stumbles, like, near them and past them with, like, still a hand on the fucking dagger. Thinking, like, your arm is sore, bitch.
Look, it's not my fault that you're a worse fighter than I am, okay?
Do not start. We only have a few minutes left. You can put that away for now. Let the captain have his moment, or have her moment.
Yeah, so I think the captain stumbles near and then like kind of past, looks back at them and says, I think it's time for the crew to board the ship. And I want this fucking dagger out of me. And then they'll continue into the ship.
Kale makes no move to get on the ship.
That counts for you as well, Kale. And then they'll turn around and look. Getting in, or do I need to warp you? And I'm in no condition to warp you at the moment.
He doesn't answer, like, partially because he's tired, but he can't look at you.
I break away from Naomi, just walk over to Kale, press one of the now cooled shurikens into his palm, and just say, "Come on, I owe you a drink." And then get to the
You
ship.
a lot more than that.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
As Nathaniel and Kale have their moment, I stride up next to Cyrus. She's walking a little bit slower than I am at this point, because, again, stabbed. But I'll actually get in front of her and kind of, like, stop her from moving, and I'll just kind of, like, look at her. I won't say a word, I'll just look at her.
You getting in?
I just hold out a hand.
They, at the moment, they kind of look, because I would imagine that you use your dominant hand to staunch, like, wounds or something like that. So for a moment, they look at your hand.
Okay, then I would have seen this. I would notice this, obviously, because I don't want you to stop what you're doing.
No, it's way better if you start with that hand and then you switch after the fact.
Yeah. I'm sure that I'll kind of grin a little bit and swap hands.
Yeah, they'll give a small like smile to that, and then just take the hand, and then say, "Well, get on then."
I just lean down and I just pick Cyrus up and then carry her onto the ship.
I think the last thing you hear when she's being carried inside is "You need to obey the commands of your captain, Kale."
And I will get on the ship, but he takes a good long pause before stepping, and I think would say to Nathaniel, "It was a pardon for Cyrus. That was the price."
I look over at the collapsed body of Uriah and just chuckle a bit. The things we do for loyalty, eh?
Oh, by the way, you asked me why I knew you. You remember, about 3 years ago now? Out of the Blackbird stables, 2 horses went missing.
Yeah? You little shit.
And then the credits roll. That's it.
That's it.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, wonderful audience, thank you so much for spending this time with us. I had a wonderful time running this game for what was previously the crew and the passengers, but I believe at this point it is just appropriate to say the crew of the Owl.
The squad.
I didn't get that memo, I'm sorry. The squad of the Owl. That's a squid quad, right? A squad?
Yes. It's like a new term that we're workshopping it. Don't worry about it. It's fine.
For sure. I, as always, am Aaron, your storyteller. I have been joined by 5 incredibly wonderful, fun, and talented folks. As Captain Cyrus Vance, it is Syriinx. Syriinx, tell us who you are, where we can find you, and what you do.
Hi, I am Syriinx, and you can find me on Twitter and Instagram as such, and I play lots of TTRPG and cosplay. Yeah.
Cosplay is wonderful. I saw the steampunk thing you did fairly recently, and I was like, that's
it was
really nice.
so good. Oh, I enjoyed it so much.
At the helm of the ship, we have Snargle, played by Zoe. Zoe, tell us who you are and what you do.
First of all, it's been wonderful being your pilot for this whole shenanigans that we've done together. My name is Zoe. You can find me on Twitter as @ZoeTripper, but you can also find me with Queen's Court Games. So please continue to check in what we're doing. I'll see you there.
Also, rounding out the crew as Kale Arkham is Rowan. Rowan, tell us who you are and what you do.
Hello, I'm Rowan. I do occasional TTRPGs and some online content. I am not around very much online, but you can find me on a very long hiatus Twitter and a sometimes active TikTok. On TikTok, you can find me at actual_ghost. On Twitter, I am Rowan_Mars.
Turning now to our passengers come compatriots. Playing the I kept saying sister fister, and I was just gonna make a joke about it, but the joke just made me laugh ahead of time. Sledgehammer Fists, the only person in the known galaxy who's managed to best Uriah Flint in hand-to-hand combat. As Naomi, it is V.
That's me.
Tell us who you are. Tell us what you do.
I'm V. You can find me at Twitter, on Twitter, at V is for vampire, because my name is V, and I love vampires. Obviously, I am the queen of the court over at Queen's Court Games, so you can find me here pretty much all the time.
And the eponymous lord, who, without their antics, without their heart, there would be no adventure. Playing Lord Blackbird, it is Gabe. Gabe, tell us, please, who are you and what do you do?
Hey everybody, my name is Gabriel, your friendly local trans man and or complete coked up possum in a skin suit. Depends how you want to go for it. You can find me various places all around the internet at Good and Chaotic. That's Twitter, Instagram, or not really active on there, but you can do it anyway, and TikTok if you're brave enough. So all of that good stuff. You can usually find me hanging out on other people's channels and stuff on the Twitch sphere, such as the Overlord. We were doing a Sabbat Chronicle over there, so if you want to go check out me and some other people terrorizing the streets of Philadelphia, that is, I believe, now being broadcasted, which is very, very cool. And yeah, just keep an eye on things from Adventure Tavern, because I'm hoping to be putting out more stuff there soon, and also working with the amazing Queen's Court Games. Thank you so much for having me, guys. You're amazing.
No, you.
Now you.
We are Queen's Court Games. You can find us on Twitter at Queen's Court RPG because Queen's Court Games is too long for a Twitter handle. We're also on Facebook and Instagram and some other places. I'm pretty sure I'm not the social media person. I have people for that. I am at Aaron in Words if you want to follow my little GM musing. In the meantime and between time, you can catch our next big adventure next week, same time, same channel. And until then, we will wish you a wonderful evening, a happy tomorrow. Thank you so much for stopping by.